Well, a lovely Thursday afternoon. How are you? Welcome to the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. Hope you're having yourself a wonderful day. It's we're getting closer. We're less than what? 21 hours? No, sorry, 23 hours from trade deadline. The Edmonton Oilers, hey, they got time, just like all the other teams, to make some moves. The Oilers, for me, I would put second pair right defenseman as a number one priority. I would have a fourth line center, preferably a right shot, would be there. After that, it's, you know what? You try to look for things. I know a lot of people are going to say, Gregor, what about goaltending? What about goaltending? I always ask who, right? I said Vijmelka was never available. He signed last night for a 5-year extension. Jordan Binnington, unless you want to pay an absolute monumental ransom, not available. I'm not sold that he's worth it, to be honest. Backup goalies, you thought yesterday, hey, maybe Jake Allen with the injury to Hughes, but you saw them add today, so I don't think they're going to subtract Jake Allen when they went on and got Dumoulin, so you take him off the list. Honestly, which goalie? Don't say the Oilers need a goalie. Say which goalie. I have a lot of people text me Jonathan Quick. Jonathan Quick's 39. He's played 1 year in the playoffs since 2018. I get he was an elite goalie early in his career in the playoffs, but he's 39. He's played once in the playoffs in the last 7 years. I don't think that's the answer. Plus, let's be realistic here. He's 39. He's not going to be moving his family across the country. I don't think the Rangers are going to trade him. The Rangers are still in the mix, right? They're going to need, hopefully for them, a few quality starts from Quick. Now, he did have a shutout lately, which is great, but 9 of his last 12 games haven't been great, right? In 8 of them, he's allowed 4 or more goals. So I don't think he's the answer for me anyway. Maybe he is for you. That's fine. We'll have different opinions on it, but I'd say this. If the Oilers acquire Jonathan Quick, I would rip them for that acquisition because I don't think it would be a good acquisition. So just like I will rip them if they don't make any other acquisitions. To me, this team, the Oilers are good. I wrote the article about it today. The Oilers, it's very odd how they went from a 30-game stretch where they were the best team in the NHL. 750 points percentage, easily the best team. And then I don't know what happened in late January, but their last 11 games, they become one of the worst teams in the NHL. Very Jekyll and Hyde. And it's not just goaltending. You can read the article at OilersNation.com, and you will see that during that 30-game stretch, because people are like, well, Gregor, they've never gotten consistent goaltending. Well, during that 30-game stretch, they did. Right? They won 22 games. Skinner had a .915 save percentage, 2.53 goals against average. The goalies both at 5-on-5. Their expected goals was higher than their actual goals against. So they outperformed it. Not by a lot because they're not elite goalies. I don't expect them to have huge numbers and be +6 or +7 in goals saved above expected. It's not who they are. But they gave them consistent goaltending for 30 games. The team's defense was good. Their offense was good. They had lots of guys contributing. And now they hardly have anybody contributing offensively. In the last 11 games, Connor McDavid has no points 5-on-5. None. And then look at the depth guys. Nothing's going on offensively. You had a stretch where you had guys contributing, McDavid and Draisaitl leading the charge as they normally do offensively. Heck, Podkolzin in those 30 games had 6 goals 5-on-5. It's pretty good. Every player had at least 5 points at 5-on-5. But for the last 11 games, this team, not individuals, this team has hit the skids and went and driven right in the ditch. And really, the only game they've won in regulation was when Calvin Pickard stood on his head. Now, I don't think he's capable of doing that all the time. He did it once, great. But I don't think you can go into the games thinking they're going to be. The Oilers goalies aren't that good. Right? Like, it's funny to me that, well, goalies, I need the goalie to steal some game. But you're saying the goalie isn't good, but then you want him to steal games. You can't have it both ways. If you don't think the goalie's good, then just say you don't think the goalie's good. But then don't say you want him to steal games because you're asking him to do something you don't think he's capable of. That doesn't make any sense. So, but I can tell you, the Oilers have not been looking for a goaltender. And I know that lots of Oilers fans, well, not lots, some, wanted John Gibson. Hey, Kevin Woodley knows more about goaltending than me. I think he knows more goaltending than most people listening. And what did he say? He said, I don't know if I see enough of an improvement to make the move when you consider how does it fit in your room, all those sorts of things. So I don't think there's going to be a goalie here. Does Stu Skinner have to play better? What he needs to improve on is the bad games can't be horrific. They can just be an off night. Fine. That'll happen. Even the best players in the world will have an off night. It just can't be so egregious. It's like the playoffs last year. If you look at Stuart Skinner, he had the 2 games in Vancouver. They were really ugly. He allowed 9 goals on 28 shots. Ugly. But in his 21 other starts, he only allowed 45 goals. A 2.14 goals against and a .916 save percentage. He was very out-dueled Jake Ottinger. Right? First 3 games, Bobrovsky was better than him. The next 3 games, Skinner was better than Bobrovsky. Came down to 1 goal. I think it was fine. He legitimately gave you a chance to win. But he needs to play better than he has as of late. Fair. But so do the players. Like, come on, Connor McDavid, no points in 11 straight games. Have you outscored 16-2 at 5-on-5? And even if you want, well, it's all about the goalie. No, the goalie has nothing to do with his offense or lack thereof. But come on. So he needs to be better. He said, all the players have said it. This team has to get back to, you know what? They're not playing great off the rush. They're not generating enough offensive zone time. They're way too much one and done. It's way harder to play defense when you have to play it more. So play it less. Start there. And tonight they got the Montreal Canadiens. Not an easy game because the Habs, all of a sudden, they're the hottest team in the league. Winners of 5 in a row. Nick Suzuki. Now, here's a stat, Oilers fans. It's normally the other way around. Normally, I would say this stat about Connor McDavid. In the last 5 games, Nick Suzuki has 13 points. Like, how many times in his career has McDavid had 13 points in 5-game stretch? Oof. I would guess without even looking at least 10 times, right? It's not unrealistic to think McDavid has 13 points in 5 games. The Oilers, Nick Suzuki himself has outscored the Oilers in the last 5 games. He has 13 points. The Oilers have scored 12 goals. That's all you need to know for me about where the Oilers are offensively right now, where they are defensively, their goaltending, all facets of their game need to be better. And I don't think there's this magical switch. Hard work for sure. That'll be one. And not just hard work, smart work. And it doesn't get easier because no Ekholm tonight. His illness. And you know what? They might just have to say, hey, Matthias, stay away for a week. Get healthy. He's had that illness since 4 Nations. It's not an injury. It's an illness. So just try to see if that can, help him. Klingberg out again, which to me raises a red flag. And I think even more of a need to get a right shot defenseman. Because even if you get a backup goalie and you're not going to play that much, if you don't get a second pair right defenseman, it's going to make it more stressful on everybody. So that's what I think they need here in the next 23 hours. It is the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Coming up today, man, we got a great lineup for you. Mike Rupp is going to join us right away. Oscar Klefbom. You haven't heard him in a long time, but Oscar Klefbom, you'll see him and hear him. He'll join us live on our stream at OilersNation.com, live on the radio. So we'll touch on that. Also, later on in the program today, we'll hear from Sam Cosentino. Tony Marinaro will give us the Montreal side of things. The Habs, don't count out the Habs in the East, man. Like you're telling me, there's a chance. I think they got a decent chance. I don't know how good, but the Blue Jackets, 68 points. The Senators, 67. The Rangers, 67. The Red Wings, 66. And the Canadiens, 65. So they're there. At least you can say with 20 games to go, they're in the mix. Now, can they stay there? That's the other question. But Montembeault's played very well out of the break. Suzuki's playing awesome. Young Lane Hudson continues to shine on the back end. So we'll talk to Tony about that. And will the Habs make a move? They re-signed Jake Evans, didn't let him go as trade. Sign him to a 4-year deal, $2.85 million per year. What about Yoel Armia? Are they going to move him? Are they going to keep him? I don't think you would trade David Savard. Now, David Savard's playing in the third pair. But if you get good 13, 14, 15 minutes from your third pair player, why would you trade him for what, a third or a fourth round pick? How would that help you? I don't think it'd help you very much at all, to be honest. So I don't know if maybe the Habs will add something. We'll find out from Tony. Coming up in our trade deadline report, we got Spec. Also, we'll go in the Oilers room, hear from Chris Noblock. You will see a few new players in the lineup tonight for the Edmonton Oilers. You have, of course, Cam Dineen will make his Oiler debut tonight. No Klingberg, no Ekholm, so Dineen's going to slot in as the third left defenseman. He did play 34 NHL games with Arizona in 2022. Those are his only stint in the NHL. So, he's going to be fired right up. Man, it's been a few years. Probably was one, hey, maybe I'll never get back there. So you're never going to take it for granted. I'm sure that type of enthusiasm can sometimes it can be a good thing. It's not a bad thing, especially when you're a team that's not playing great. You look for anything to, maybe give you a little bit of mental boost. And that could be it, right? It's possible. We'll see. Well, but Dineen, if you haven't watched him play, his best asset is moving the puck. So we'll see how he does in that regard. Also, Max Jones will make his Oilers debut. Of course, Jones, 24th overall pick with the Ducks back in 2016. He spent basically 5 seasons, 4 full years in the NHL with the Ducks, and then went to Boston this year. Has only played 7 games for the Bruins. Has spent the other time in the American League, but he was absolutely jacked today. He said he had butterflies. Couldn't stop being excited about when he got traded to Edmonton just for the possibility being in the organization, and now he's here. So he'll play in a line with Kapanen and Perry, Brown, Janmark, and Henrik. That line's got to get going. They got to do something, and it can't just be not get scored on. At some point, you got to chip in offensively a little bit. You'll have Arvidsson, Draisaitl, and Podkolzin, and then you'll have, of course, McDavid, Hyman, and Nugent Hopkins. Stuart Skinner is going to get the start in goal. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back. As always, we'll get your text, 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. In our eWell inbox. We'll return to the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Truck Month is on now at GMC, and it's one of the best times to get behind the wheel. Right now, get a $5,000 cash purchase credit on 2025 Sierra HD models with a 13.4-inch diagonal center touchscreen, and available Duramax 6.6-liter turbo diesel V8 engine with 470 horsepower, plus the most trailering assistance technologies in its class. Sierra has some serious hauling power and is the only off-road ready HD. Truck Month is on now. Ask your GMC dealer for details.
Dang. Last season, you bought new clubs to fix your game. You spent the entire season trying to learn how to hit with your magic clubs. And guess what? Dang. They didn't help your game. Now you're convinced it's your swing, but it really is your clubs. Even though you were told the ones you bought were the best ever made, if they were, you would have gotten better. Every day at Fitted Golf, we continue to prove the right clubs make all the difference in the world. From beginners to pros, Fitted Golf makes all the difference. Yes, fittedgolf.ca.
Some things are just unpredictable, like this weird winter we're having. Should I wear my snowsuit today or my Speedo? Come on, you love it. But there's one thing in this city you can always count on. That's always predictable. The incredible service at Metal Supermarkets. Metal cut to your precise requirements in no time. Plus in-house metal bending. Predictable, professional. The convenience stores for Southside, West End, metalsupermarkets.com.
The Alzheimer's Face-Off, presented by Christensen Communities Limited, hits the ice April 25th to 27th, pairing hockey fans with some of their favorite players from the NHL Alumni Association for a fun-filled weekend in support of the Alzheimer's Society of Alberta and Northwest Territories. Friday features a champions luncheon followed by the teams hitting the ice on Saturday and Sunday in a friendly hockey tournament at Terwilliger Rec Center. To purchase a table to the champions luncheon or to learn more about how you can get involved in the tournament, visit alzheimersfaceoff.ca for more info.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, there's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique, family-owned, independent liquor store. The selection, incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310-GLASS or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Sometimes it feels like you work, sleep, and, well, that's about it. When you finally get a break for something different. At Edmonton's best games room, Top Shots Billiards and Ping Pong. Unwind with championship tables, a state-of-the-art golf simulator, and 15,000 feet of games and fun for all ages. Top Shots is a fully licensed bar and restaurant with dozens of flat screens. #1 for parties, for bookings for any size. Top Shots, the best thing to happen at pool since chalk. In the woods and at topshots.ca.
You know what they say about March, in like a lamb, out with a Honda. Or is it in like a lion, out with a Honda? Either way, Sherwood Honda has inventory on the lot, so you can march right down and get yours today. New or used, sedan or coupe, SUV or truck, Sherwood Honda has it with financing available. And their service department will keep you rolling as time marches on. This March, you have an in at Sherwood Honda. Now sing us out.
Hair Aware with Dr. Vance Elliott.
Hey, Doc, I really want my hair restoration to fly under the radar, but I recently read that men have to shave their heads and go full Lex Luthor before treatment.
The majority of my patients don't require head shaving because we can work around it. I can perform a no-shave FUE transplant or an FUT transplant if we determine that a transplant is necessary. Let's discuss your options.
Trust a world-renowned expert in hair restoration. Book an appointment at drvanceelliott.com today.
Roll Up to Win is back at Tim Hortons, and you've got a shot at millions of prizes, like a $1,000 Rakuten cash prize or a free Tim's coffee or donut. Play on the Tim's app until March 23rd. Rules apply, Canada only. No purchase necessary. Visit the Tim's app for details.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Crystal Glass, your clear choice for residential windows, locally manufactured and installed. Crystal Glass provides a beautiful product and incredible customer services for all of your residential needs. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca for a quote.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.220. Welcome back, Jason Gregor. Connor Halley, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. Hey, do you want to go to the Oiler game against the Canadiens tonight? You know what? It's I was filling out all of our Gregor's grads. And man, we got a lot of schools this year. Holy cow. I think we're up to 36 different schools that we're helping out those 200 kids again for the Gregor Foundation. And obviously you could use a little fundraising money. So, you know what? We'll auction those off. My hockey team, actually, we're in playoffs. So my son can't use the game. He's all fired up. He wanted to go to the Montreal game because he likes it when you have the fans are louder. And because he went to a Toronto game once. He loved the fact that there was like cheering going on for both sides. And he felt it was a much better atmosphere. So he's actually excited to go to Montreal, but obviously has hockey, so he can't. So, if you want to help out the Gregor Foundation, we supply suits, shirts, ties, shoes, socks, belts for high school grads who can't afford it, so they can feel pride and have an opportunity to wear that. They get to keep it. We get all tailored at Mr. Dirk. So we'll auction those off today. 833-401-1440. The great seats, our seats in the lower bowl where the Oilers attack twice, and it will be loud. I can tell you that right now. It will be loud in the rink tonight. It's going to be a great atmosphere. Always the counter cheering going on. Should be fun. So if you want to go, send in a bid, 833-401-1440. 1440. Let's go around the NHL, brought to you by McDonald's. Stop in at McD's right now, where you can indulge in the cheesy jalapeno pepper sauce, perfectly picked and pickled jalapeno peppers and bacon with McDonald's new cheesy jalapeno and bacon quarter pounder. Ooh, maybe a little spicy. Check it out, only at McDonald's. As we welcome in Stanley Cup winner, former NHLer, ace analyst on the NHL Network, and analyst for the Pittsburgh Penguins, Mike Rupp joins us. Rupper, how you doing, my man?
What's up, Greg? A little bit of a tongue twister right there. I thought you were going to do the Peter Piper pick the pepper.
That was.
You did a good job, though.
Buddy, it was you know what, to be honest, that was a rookie move because I didn't read it. I just got a new one. I didn't read it before. So I kind of just, all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, my God, don't screw up. Don't screw up. So, but managed to get through it. Wasn't great, but I did get through it. Let's I want to get your thoughts. Here we are. It's 23 hours left up till trade deadline. You know, there's lots of stuff going on. I want to start with probably the biggest story around the league. Do you actually think Carolina is going to trade Rand?
I do. I think that yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just had a weird feeling ever since that trade happened. I just didn't think that he was going to sign that extension, or at least not until the summertime. I mean, you guys wait your entire career. I think you owe it to yourself in a lot of these situations. You could think it's selfish, but it's selfish time. That's your time. You could map out your future with your family or whatever the circumstances. I was shocked that they made the move. And I'm even more shocked that there wasn't a deal in place already. Like that, to me, I think that they're at a real pivotal spot here where they're at the mercy of obviously the player, but obviously they're in a spot where they need the market to compete for one another to trade for this guy. Like the Carolina Hurricanes, in my opinion, could have just really hurt or even closed their window in some regard if they don't manage the situation or get the right deal in place. So, I mean, it would all be a moot point if he does end up signing an extension in Carolina. But man, everyone's paying attention to that for obvious reasons. They're in a tough spot here.
Yeah, it is. You know, it's fascinating to me. Like they made him a big offer, right? That we heard that it was, over $100 million. So we do the math on 12 years. That's minimum 12 and a half, right? That's what McDavid signed 8 for 12 and a half, gets you right at a cool $100 million. So you know what? It's not like that's an insulting opening offer. I don't think by any stretch of the imagination. And the fact that he doesn't want to sign now he didn't say no. He just said not right now. But being a player, do you think not right now ultimately means no?
I think so.
Yeah.
I've always thought, no matter what kind of player you are, the advice I was always given, even being a role-playing guy that's nowhere near the level of Mikko Rantanen, in most situations, I mean, there's been obviously a few others that it's like the Steven Stamkos situation in Tampa, but you get the free agency, you're gone. Like I very rarely do you see it where you come back, or maybe it's depending on whatever the circumstances is, seeing what the market is, maybe it helps you to stay with the same team you're at. But Mikko Rantanen will get paid more money elsewhere. I firmly believe that. So now it comes down to what he wants, what he needs. And the big thing in all this, and there's nothing wrong with living in Carolina. I would love to play in Carolina. But you get to pick where you get to play. You get to pick where you will be the king of the market here in the summer, I guess, along with depending on what's going on with Mitch Marner. I think if you don't sign him now, and even if they keep him on this run, I think it's a less of a chance that they're going to be able to re-sign him before, I guess, July 1st.
Mike Rupp joins us. When you think of destinations, man, Vegas would be in, Toronto would be heavily, well, there'd be a lot of teams that would be interested, but, ones I think that would be willing to pull the trigger. But if you're Carolina, so if you only get draft picks, Mike, is it worth doing it and say, well, you know what, hey, let's just roll the dice. Maybe we go on a run. He loves it here. He has some success, whatever. Or do you say, you know what, getting something is better than nothing, so I'll take something?
Oh, man, that's hard. I think you have to get something. And I think that's where it gets to a really tough spot. You're relying upon many teams, and there are many teams that are interested. You're relying on them to get into a bidding war, because if I'm another team, I know the position you're in. I think you have to get something. I mean, you have this window, and it's been open for a while now to win. And I don't know if picks, unless you get picks in return that you can I mean, we're getting to the deadline here. I mean, I would have thought that would have already happened. If you're going to sit there and swing them for a bunch of picks and stuff for the futures, which is fine, then maybe you can repackage that and get something in there, because the Carolina Hurricanes, there's an asset there. There's equity that was there with Marty Necas and Mikko Rantanen that you have to capitalize right now. So, I think you got to get something for them. I mean, time's ticking. I know there's been a lot of credit given to Eric Tulsky for making that deal, and I give him credit. The big kahunas to make it. But now you're getting to this next stretch where this will determine whether this is an absolute terrible deal or if it's one that can hopefully keep you in that window to win a Stanley Cup.
So, Rupper, let's move on to some other teams. The New York Rangers. It's interesting to me. They trade out Lindgren. Fox is hurt, and they go back-to-back shutouts, and then they have a really tight game against Washington. You know what? They've added JT Miller. They moved some guys out. They just moved out Riley Smith as well. What do you kind of make of it? What they're doing here? They're moving guys in and out, but they're actually playing better.
Yeah, they're playing better, and I'm not trying to be a smart or wise guy here. It was pretty bad before, so of course they're going to be playing a little bit better. And they're a good team. I just still think, and I still wonder what happened from last year's team till now. So I believe, and I've said it all year, I think they're going to get in the playoffs, and they will be a difficult out because they have some pieces. I mean, they have obviously. They could put the puck in the net. They have what generally is a pretty good special team and power play and penalty kill, and they have great goaltending, whether it's Igor or Jonathan Quick. So they'll be a tough out, but I don't consider them a contender, and that's just crazy to me to think what they were last year to now. I mean, they're getting back on track. JT Miller was great for them. Will Borgen has been awesome for them. They kind of got a retooled back end that I like. So we'll see what happens with them. I definitely wouldn't want to play them in the playoffs in the first round. I mean, can you imagine winning your division and potentially having the New York Rangers, who won the President's Trophy last year? That doesn't sound very fun, but I just don't think they're a contender like they were last year.
No, I don't think so. What about the Devils, Mike? They played more games than everybody all season long. And, if you looked at the points percentage, they didn't look that much ahead of teams, even though they were in points. And now they lose Jack Hughes for the year. They did go out and acquire Dumoulin today from the Anaheim Ducks. But what do you make of this Devils team, where they're going? And they're only 4 points up on Columbus, and Columbus has 2 games in hand. Are the Devils a team that's suddenly maybe in a little bit of trouble, or do you think they'll be able to still hold their spot and get in?
Yeah, I think they're in trouble. I think that they haven't been playing anywhere near the level they did earlier on in the season. And to your point, they always have had more games played, and maybe that masked some things. This is still a good team on roster. I like what they have. Jack Hughes is a huge loss for them. But I go back to even last year where Tom Fitzgerald took a lot of heat last year for not going out and getting that goaltender.
Yeah.
And they thought, and fans were probably right. If he did that earlier on, they probably would have made the playoffs. And we're not even talking about getting a Markstrom. We're just talking about just having Jake Allen and another bona fide NHLer. They probably would have made the playoffs. But I really respected that he just looked at last year as just things were not going right. We're going to kick this can down the road, and we're not going to make the playoffs. We're going to recalibrate. And now it brings us to right now. And this is a really bad turn of events with Jack Hughes, but I don't think you can do that again. I don't think you can sit there and be like, well, my point is, I think they need to do something. I think you need to get this team into the playoffs feeling good about themselves. And whether it's with Jack Hughes or not, you need to get that experience for this group. And so I'd like to see Tom Fitzgerald go out and do something here. I know Brian Dumoulin was a veteran presence on the back end, but something up front to give them a little bit of a boost, because I'm concerned for them. I'm concerned that they don't make the playoffs, and they got to get that experience with it, whether it's with Jack or without him. I think it would help them moving forward.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that. You went out and got Dumoulin, okay, but Dumoulin, obviously he's a defenseman, but you can't just lose Jack Hughes and think you're just going to be fine. I think they have to go out. The problem is there's not a lot of centers available, right? The obvious one is Brock Nelson with the New York Islanders. He's the best one as a center. Then probably Lawton would be number 2. Brock Nelson to New Jersey. Is there a chance in your eyes?
I mean, I think it would be it would fit well, but I also think you got a nice luxury there where, yes, losing Jack at center ice is a big loss. I mean, just losing him in general. He's such a big piece and a superstar with putting the puck in the net. They do have the luxury though of Nico Hischier. He could be your number one. So I don't think they have to go out and necessarily blow everything on a center. They just need offense. They need someone to help pick up the slack of what's lost with Jack. So if that's as a winger and that's more affordable for you, I think you can get away with not going to get a centerman. I think you got Dawson Mercer who can move around your lineup a little bit at different positions. He could play center, he could play wing. You've got some options, but yes, in a perfect world, a Brock Nelson coming in there would I think help make this team be dangerous. But they've got to clean it up in other areas, man. It's just not adding talent right now. They haven't been playing a good brand of hockey here for a little while.
Let's go to the West. You look at the Edmonton Oilers. They added Frederick. They added Max Jones. He'll play tonight. Frederick's a few weeks away. They get some size grade. I'm not sure Jones is going to be in the lineup when everybody's healthy, but I guess he's there for now. I think the Oilers, they got to upgrade their back end for sure. They got to go out and find a way. Like we talk about Fitzgerald. To me, it's unacceptable if they don't get a defenseman on the right side because John Klingberg just hasn't shown that he can do it.
No, I agree with that. I just as a whole, and I'll start with the Frederick thing. With even though he's not available right now, I think this team needed a number of things come deadline time, and getting a little grittier and tougher. I think Frederick will address some of that. I don't think it stops with the guy just with that. I think you need a little bit more. But the back end, I don't. This team defended really well, and I think that outside of Edmonton, I think Oilers fans know they've watched that team all season last year on that run, so they know. But as far as across the league, I think fans think, oh, well, you've got Connor, you've got Leon, blah blah blah. That's how. No, that team did what they did last year. They defended hard, and they were tough. They were tough to play against defensively, and then you had those other things. So right now, I know Connor's taken some. Maybe he's dropped off some, and he has. But like last year, that would have been okay. I feel like because they had other areas of their game that were good. So they got to start on the back end. They got to clean that area up, and then up front, they just got to they've got to defend well as the forward group too, and they need help up front. I'm not sold on some of the guys that they have, whether it's Arvidsson, Podkolzin, like these guys. That's not it for me. I mean, it might be it in depth roles, but where it's at right now, they need a spark. So. I mean, I think they need help on back end. I think they need help up front. I think there's a few options here, and I think they need to do it. I don't think there's any other way of looking at it where I don't think you're just okay with going into the playoffs this year because you're not defending anywhere near what you did last year.
Do you think Rasmus Ristolainen can help?
It's funny you said that. When you said right D a little bit ago, I was going to say Ristolainen. Ristolainen's a sleeper for me because it's very weird because there's times where I've really liked his game, and then there's times where you just find and he's out of the lineup. Maybe he's a scratch in Philly or whatever the circumstances. I think certain teams. I was looking at him maybe even in Winnipeg. Teams that need a little right shot defense help, big body, could be hard to play against if he's in the right spot and motivated. I do. I think that would be a guy that would definitely fit. Much more than a John Klingberg and just the way they are as players. And Ristolainen is he could be difficult when he wants to be, because there's times where I feel like he doesn't want to be, and that's kind of where he finds himself in his career. But I think that can certainly help. And I kind of wonder what the price would be to get him out of Philly. I wouldn't think it would be that much.
Yeah, it's fair. It's the term, right? That's obviously probably the issue here for Edmonton. And then if you get the Flyers to retain some, well, then obviously got to give up even more. But I think they have to look at something. I don't think they can go into the playoffs with their defense as currently constructed. I don't think it's fair to their team. I think they got a good enough players, and they were the best team in the NHL for 30-game stretch, Rupper. And then the last 11 games, they've been the worst. Like, it's unbelievable how the Oilers can go from top to bottom pretty quick. And it's not just goaltending lately. Goaltending was an issue earlier, but even in that 30-game stretch, their goaltending was fine, right? They don't have great goaltending, but it was fine. But lately, they don't have goaltending. They don't have team defense. And in a crazy world, Connor McDavid has 11 games with no 5-on-5 points, Rupper. 11 game. Being outscored 16-2, 5-on-5. Like, it's mind blowing. It's not going to continue, but that's a big reason they're in a funk.
Yeah, it's just like we talk about in the NHL on a night to night basis. Like, you can have 1, 2, 3 guys who having an off night, but you can't have 10. And I think that what you're just saying there too, the PK has not been good. The goaltending has been subpar. The defensive play, the scoring, like, you can go on and on. You've got nothing to be your crutch during that time. So you'd like to think that if they were dialed in defensively, that would sustain some of these other things. But you've got a lot of things that are off right now in Edmonton. So I think that's why you're seeing this stretch where they've been really bad. They need a couple things to start righting the ship. And then, like you said, Connor, I have zero concerns about Connor McDavid. Like, he will get it going, but you need something to help sustain for the time being. And they haven't gotten that lately.
No, they haven't. Lastly, Tampa Bay, man, they take big swings all the time. You know what? They're giving away draft picks down the road, kids that are 16 years of age right now. So they're not worried about it. I kind of respect it, to be honest. You look at Florida and Tampa Bay, they've made some huge moves there. How imperative do you think it is for Toronto to take a big swing now?
I think they need to, yeah. I mean, just with what Florida and what Tampa's done, I just want to stick with Tampa for a second. I mean, even Florida you could loop in there, but Julian Breezewall and just this organization dating back to their back-to-back cups. I think as a fan and just someone that consumes a lot of hockey, you just want conviction in what you do, right? So, I mean, in a perfect world, we're going to say, yeah, I mean, we want to go win it this year and we want to build for the future. But sometimes you got to pick which one you're doing. And sometimes when you try to do both at the same time, you spin your tires in the mud a little bit. I give a ton of respect, and it puts a big onus on drafting. It puts a big onus and really puts your neck on the line in your decision making, like in Tampa, what they pay for what they want, and they know how it's going to fit in there. And maybe not paying attention too much to your middle of the pack or 20 to 32 first round draft pick. Like, it means more to you that we're right in our selections and who we want. Now, Toronto, on the other hand, like, I think they're in that mode. They got to do that. They've got to put their, you know what, on the table and sit there and be like, this is what we're doing, and we have full belief in our team in doing this. And they've got to make a move. I don't think they're where they stand right now. I don't believe they're touching Washington. I don't believe they're touching Tampa. I don't believe they're touching the Florida Panthers in the playoffs. And quite frankly, I'll be honest, if they got the Columbus Blue Jackets in the first round, that could be a problem for them. Like, I'm not feeling very confident with this team. I think they need to do something here and really show their players that they're all in for the season.
Robert's going to be great, man. I'm looking forward to see what happens here in the final 24 hours before the trade deadline. Now we'll chat about it all next week. Have a great day.
Awesome, Greg. Enjoy, bud.
There you go. That's Mike Rupp from NHL Network and Pittsburgh Penguins analyst. When we come back, Oscar Klefbom will join us on The Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Wow. Get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at EWEL.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
Kids getting free all season long. Can you believe it? Looking for an enjoyable and affordable family night out? The Spruce Grove Saints are excited to introduce their Kids Get In Free program. All kids 12 and under receive free admission for every Saints home game this season. Bring the entire family for action-packed junior hockey at a fraction of the cost. For more information, check out sgsaints.ca.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul,
Edmonton Trailer.
Do it. Your vehicle is a big investment. Protect it at Hughes Car Wash. We use only clean, fresh water and the highest quality car wash soap. Hughes Car Wash, the car wash pros.
Find us at HughesCarWash.com.
Introducing the new McSpicy from McDonald's. It looks like a regular chicken sandwich, but it's actually a spicy chicken sandwich. McSpicy. Consider yourself warned. Limited time only. Participate in McDonald's in Canada.
Okay. Hi there, this is Riverside Motorsports, Yamaha, Suzuki, KTM, Polaris, Gas, Husqvarna, Tiddersled, Stasic, Talaria, Climb, Thor, Alpine Stars, 509, Troy Lee Designs, and more. Sales, how can I help you?
Located on St. Albert Trail, rideriverside.com. Riverside Motorsports. What you do for fun is our business.
Explore Internet just got 10 times faster. 5G Ultra brings incredible speeds to homes in rural and small town Canada. Upgrade today at xplore.ca.
Portions of the Sour brought to you by Papa John's. Feeding a crowd, get the triple play. 3 large specialty or 5 topping pizzas for only $54 when you use promo code 3play at papajohns.ca.
Hat tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Welcome back. Jason Gregor Show, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. Hope you're having an awesome day. Let's get to our big guest of the day, brought to you by Silent Ice in its championship season in the JPHL. The players are going after the Prospects Cup. There's 105 teams in the HSL going for the title, as well as the female Super League championships. Go to silentice.com to watch all of the action. And our big guest, of course, many of you know him as a longtime Oiler. Of course, drafted in the first round back in 2017. Unfortunately, his career was cut short due to a shoulder injury. He's back in Edmonton for the first time in a few seasons. He joins us now. Oscar Klefbom joins us. Clef, how you doing, my man?
I'm doing pretty good, Jason. Thank you for having me.
Jeez, you know what? I hadn't seen you it's probably since that last game against Chicago in the bubble. And dude, I don't think you've aged a second, eh? Fatherhood's treating you pretty well.
Yeah. No, it's been feels like forever since I've been here, but feels really good to be back. That's why I maybe look like the same.
I really enjoyed our conversation and your honesty about, because I'd asked you, hey, you watch any games? You're like, no, I haven't. Can you kind of take us through just how difficult it was to make that decision to retire at such a young age?
Yeah, man, it's the hardest decision I've taken in my whole life. Of course, when you're 28, 29 years old, you don't want to retire, especially when you're in an organization like this with Edmonton, and you have a great team, a beautiful arena, and really good fans. So, and we kind of have, we were feeling good about ourselves. We started getting that kind of winner mentality. So it was obviously the hardest decision of my life, but obviously, I knew I couldn't play forever, and I knew it was just a matter of time before I was going to have to take the decision. But yeah, it's been really, really tough mentally. Like you said, friends and family back home, they wonder why I don't watch any games or stay involved in hockey. And I don't think I was prepared for how tough it was going to be just mentally to sit on and watch hockey from above or in the press box or whatever. So it's been very tough mentally for sure.
And you know what? Because you played many years with the pain of it. What, like when you go back, what started it? What led to you playing so many years with the shoulder issues?
So it actually started back home in Sweden. So I started playing pro when I was 16, 17 years old. I got to play a lot of minutes. It was really good for my confidence, and I don't remember the year exactly, but I basically got to get bad hit, my shoulder dislocated. It was kind of a bad injury, so they had to obviously I went for surgery. They had to put like the shoulder, kind of the ball into the socket really tight, just to not from prevent it to dislocate very easily and pop out all the time. And at the time it worked really well. You get some restricted some less restriction, and you feel pretty good in the beginning. But then after a while, because they tight the ball into the socket really hard, I mean, obviously you're gonna get some wear and tear. And during the years, you get some bad hits, and you it's a long season, many games, and obviously I was in a position when we were kind of in a generational. I don't know how to say it, but they really believed in me. I got drafted, and I came in as a young guy and got to play a lot of minutes, and I wanted to show what I went for. So obviously it was not really a good time to bitch and say, hey, I need to do something about my shoulder, because we didn't really have time, and it was some tough seasons in Rexall Place when we had to make a playoff push or whatever. So there was not really a good time for me to take care of injury. It was more for myself, playing through some pain, and obviously it worked for many years. But somewhere I knew it was gonna come down to a tough decision further down the road, and unfortunately it was a couple of years ago.
Oscar Klefbom joins us back in Edmonton for the first time in 3 years. And so the game 2 nights ago, Clef, was the first game you've watched in 3 years. You're probably like, geez, maybe didn't pick the right one to watch.
No, it was not a good one. I'll probably stay home for the next 2 here, so we'll see. No, it was really good to be back in Rogers Place, obviously, to just be around the guys and see the locker room and dressing room again, and be around during the game. And yeah, it was almost goosebumps just to sit there and watch the guys on the ice. Obviously I wanted to be on the ice, but it was a really nice experience with a lot of emotions. But yeah, it just felt really good to be back in the rink.
Now, I know that, you're being around, hanging out with Nugent Hopkins, obviously talking to a lot of the guys that you played with. And were you able to get a moment, because you haven't been to that rink in 3 years? Have you had a time to kind of, I don't even know if this is the proper way to say it, but kind of like have the final morning for you to just look and say, okay, you know what, man, I had a great time here, but now I got to move on. Did you take some time the last few days by yourself there?
For sure. I enjoy every moment. And the moment I stepped into the rink and saw the equipment managers, the medical staff, it was very emotional. I have goosebumps. You spent so many hours in there with the staff and the team and obviously the coaches and the players, and you had so many good memories. And especially with the coaching staff, and obviously it changed, but the medical staff and all the people around the team it's basically the same. And they've been around since I started playing here in Rexall Place, and we've gone through a lot of bad seasons, good seasons, ups and downs. So it feels really nice to see them in there. And yeah, I'm really happy to be here once again. It was mixed feeling for me coming to Edmonton. Part of me wants obviously to come here and see everybody again, but from a different perspective, I obviously still today I want to be on the ice, not coming to Edmonton as a guest or a visitor, not the player anymore. So it feels really weird, but in a beautiful way.
Oscar Klefbom joins us, and you mentioned to me how one of the best gifts to allow you to get through this was becoming a father to young Louis. He's 16 months old now. I think you got your second child coming this summer in July, so you're going to be busy. How's what's been the best part of being a stay-at-home dad?
To be honest, I think it would be a lot harder if I didn't have a son, and we have another one coming here in the summer, and we built a beautiful home in Sweden, Karlstad, in my hometown. Okay. And that kind of helped me. It was actually great timing just to focus on anything else than hockey. Obviously, I have a good connection with my home team back in Karlstad, my organization, Färjestad, and that's the same there. I don't want to go to any games. I don't want to have anything to do with hockey because I'm still too emotionally involved. So it's been a good timing just to spend some quality time with my son and wife, and it's been a beautiful time. But obviously something is missing, right? You play hockey for most of your life, and suddenly it's not there anymore, and you're not in Edmonton, and you don't get the excitement of going to the rink and get the adrenaline going, playing games and playing for playoff spots and all that. So something's missing. But during the time, spend some time with my family and friends back home, you kind of see life through a different perspective. But once again, it really helped me just get through some really hard time here.
You got Louis, you playing mini sticks with him yet?
Yeah, he just started. I don't give him anything for granted, so he's going to step it up.
Now, you were telling me that your dad didn't play hockey, but he coached you up until you were a teenager.
Yes.
So have you thought about, because, I know it was hard for you to you've had your 3 years away from hockey. Now you have your son, and obviously he's only 16 months, so it's still a few years, but is coaching hockey something that could maybe, in a different way, scratch that itch for you? And also you talked about having your dad as a coach. It's kind of fun. Is that something you'd want to do later on?
For sure. I think I'm going to return into hockey no matter what, 100%. It's just a matter of time and what position. If I'm going to help Edmonton or Färjestad back home, or be a scout or a coach or just a coaching dad, you never know. Hockey has been such a big part of my life, and I had so many great memories. And obviously I want to be involved somehow. We're just going to see how it turns out and what position and how big of a role it's going to be in my life.
So I know it's only one game, Oscar, and you watch, because it was funny. You told me, man, it was just too hard. You didn't watch the Stanley Cup Finals. Obviously, you knew what was going on, and you were cheering for your buddies. You were talking to Nugent Hopkins, but you couldn't watch it. But so now that you watched a game yesterday, and I'm assuming you're going to go tonight and then Saturday against Dallas, would you be able to watch playoffs this year, do you think, or would it still be too tough?
I don't know. We'll see about that. But obviously, now you start to realize how much you missed the game and how fun it is. And I mean, just going to the game, I know it was not the best game of the season against Anaheim, but it's still there. And I still get goosebumps just thinking about being on the ice, how fun it is, and what kind of energy you get from being here in Edmonton and how big it is. So I'm obviously, with the run they had last year, I don't think it will be hard for me to stay away and not follow the team this year. I'm for sure I'm over that stage now, kind of, so I can probably get a little bit more involved.
Now, I want to ask you honestly, how many times and how aware were you during your playing days in Edmonton of how many times Oiler fans were tweeting out ab pictures of Oscar Klefbom? Like, were you sharing them with your ghost accounts and stuff? Because they were up there quite.
No idea what you're talking about. No idea.
Yeah. Are you still in good shape? Do you still have the abs? Mike wanted to know for a bag.
Yeah, no, I stay active, even though I don't play hockey anymore. I was on the ice for the first time in 3.5 years. Last week, I playing against some 13-year-old boys and
dominating.
And it was the first 10 minutes. It was just a little bit of fun, and then something just switched, and I want to win. So it's still there, the passion for hockey and to win some games. But yeah, it's I stay active, but we'll see if it's going to be more involvement within hockey or not.
So do we have any videos of Oscar Klefbom schooling 13-year-olds in Sweden right now?
You might find something out there. I don't know.
Now, when you're out there, were you back on defense, or you rushing defense, or do you want to play forward? Like when you get
I was a very active two-way defenseman. I was going everywhere. I was just busting her out there, just enjoying the time on the ice again.
Now, you mentioned in your hometown. How is from when you played in the development system? How do you think Swedish hockey is now, this many years ahead? Like, has anything changed significantly? Because I know they kind of keep you in your with one team, and then you kind of go up through that development. That model seems to have a lot of success.
Yes, it does. And for me, I was very fortunate enough to have Färjestad as an organization back home. They're probably one of the best and biggest organization in Europe. I think for me, it was really good to have all the opportunities to be as good of a hockey player I could be back then. It was really good for me, and I have a really good relationship with them today. And obviously it works really well. Like a lot of players that comes from Sweden, they're very good hockey players. I mean, it's very exciting to see young players coming over here today, and they play with less respect for the North American kind of hockey style.
Okay.
We're more prepared, I think, for what is coming. And it's really fun. I mean, I'm really looking forward to see the next generation of Swedish hockey players coming over here.
And Oscar, outside of being a dad, what other things have you done to kind of, just keep yourself active, keep yourself happy, and keep your mind clear?
So I've always been a big fisherman, even though like during my active years here in Edmonton, just when I come home to Sweden, I like to be on the water, just leave my phone at home and recharge all the batteries for another season. So it's been a good time for me. Like I keep that up. I fish a lot and I play some tennis and some paddle tennis. It's a new sport growing fast in Sweden. So I stay active and I try to stay busy in a different way possible, except for hockey. But we'll see. Hockey is slowly getting into my life again.
Well, that, you know what? It was such a big part of your life. And I know, Oiler fans, I can say that you're one of the players. The Oiler fans missed you a lot just based on the reaction I've had in my show over the years and online at OilersNation.com, that it was, there was a lot of empathy from fans that you had to end your career so early, because especially just as the team was kind of, you went through the tough years. You were there for some of the decade of darkness and, you're coming out the light and obviously that was a huge loss for the organization. It took them quite a few years before they finally found a replacement, funny enough, and another Swedish guy in Matthias Ekholm.
Yeah. No, just like you said, it's very emotional coming here, and you actually realize how appreciated I was here in Edmonton from fans, from the organization, from coaching staff and the medical team and all that. It's just gives me goosebumps just thinking about it. When you get that many years off and you're not in Edmonton anymore, you kind of forget how important I was over here. So it's actually a really nice reminder. And once again, it's really emotional, really fun to be here again and see fans and how they react, and even just being around the guys in the locker room again, how welcome they are and see me as a part of the family still, even though I'm not playing anymore.
Well, maybe tonight you might have to get a jersey, rip it off, and throw it over your head and fire up the crowd, because they're obviously hoping for a little bit better of a performance tonight, as are the players. And I know it'll be fun for you. Oscar, it's great seeing you again, man. I'm happy, number one, that you're healthy, that mentally everything's good. You're enjoying fatherhood, and number two on the way, man. All of a sudden, you and your wife, it's easy when you outnumber them. All of a sudden now it's going to be, a parent to kid even. So it changes things a little bit.
Yeah, they keep us busy for sure. Thank you very much for having me, Jason.
Yeah, you betcha, buddy. Oscar Klefbom, of course. Really good guy. And, I ran into Oscar. I was actually visiting the guys in the GS Construction, Tirana and them in the Sweden. He was actually doing an interview with Gene Principe at the intermission. And as he came off, I was walking out and I just bumped into him. I hadn't seen him in so many years. And had a really good conversation. He was just as he said right there, like it was very emotional for him. And I think, some of us, myself included, kind of maybe forgot just that aspect of you're 28 years of age. You're like in your prime years. You're strong. Like you look at Klefbom and you see him now, like he's a specimen. What did Leon Draisaitl, when I talked to him, he goes like, he's just one of those freak guys who's just always like strong, in shape, just has good genetics. And like, if he walked down the street today, people be like, oh, that's a pro athlete, right? There's lots of pro athletes could walk down the street and no one would think they're a pro athlete. He has that physique and body type, but he's not able to use it. And it was a really good conversation, just an eye opener for me about how difficult it's been for him the last few years, and how, ever since he had Louis, him and his wife, the young son, he's been great, being a stay-at-home dad and give him some purpose to, I think everybody out there who's a parent knows that, there is just something that's hard to explain. When every time you see your young child and your baby, and then they smile at you for the first time. And then like every time they see you, especially in the younger years, there's like a puppy. They're so like, you're the greatest person ever. And it feels good. And especially when you help them and they, they love you obviously as much as you love them. And it gave him a real purpose, and he's into golf now. And, I think he feels he's kind of hard. He's through the hardest part, but he also admitted that, seeing hockey for the first time might bring back a lot of the memories of, God, now I do miss it. And maybe I miss it even more. So the reaction from the fans, I thought was very pure. Not a surprise. He was very popular amongst the fan base, and rightfully so. He's a really good player. Right? Like you think about the fact that the Oilers in that short of time lost Klefbom to a career-ending injury, and then lost Adam Larsson to his father's sudden passing. And he was just, it was too difficult for him to stay in Edmonton. So he had to leave. And, for no fault of the organization's own, they had to go and find replacements for those guys. It's not easy. So, and, I give Ken Holland credit. He went from Tyson Barrie for a few years, and obviously Bouchard developed. They got Matthias Ekholm, but it's not a quick fix at all. So good to hear that he's doing well. Just after 3:00, Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X should mention we're at 500 right now for the tickets. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Let's get to the con man. Sports 1440 update brought to you by Legacy Heating and Coolant, where the rates never change. No overtime charges. You need furnace repair, maintenance, maybe in the summer AC unit. Do it now with Legacy Heating. No extra charges.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Game day, the Edmonton Oilers hosting the Montreal Canadiens down at Rogers Place. Puck drop in this one just after 7 o'clock. Pre-game coverage here on Sports 1440 gets going at 6 with Andrew Walker and Donovan Paulson. On the ice, you also have Utah taking on the Red Wings. Lightning host the Sabres. Jackets in Florida to meet the Panthers. Flyers host the Jets. Bruins taking on the Canes. Kraken and Preds. Stars hosting the Flames, and the Sharks taking on the Colorado Avalanche. Off the ice, the Toronto Maple Leafs place forward Ryan Reeves on waivers. Also, Rangers trading Riley Smith back to the Vegas Golden Knights in exchange for forward Brandon Britson and a 2025 third-round pick. The Rangers will also retain 50% of Smith's salary in cap hit. And the Florida Panthers acquiring forward Nico Sturm and a 2027 seventh-round selection from the Sharks in exchange for Florida's fourth-round pick in 2026. The St. Louis Blues announcing today Colton Parayko will undergo a scope on his left knee and be reevaluated in 6 weeks. In the association tonight, you've got the Pelicans taking on the Rockets. Knicks meet the Lakers, Nets and Warriors. Celtics host the Sixers. Pacers in Atlanta, and the Magic taking on the Chicago Bulls. PWHL action tonight has Montreal heading to Toronto. That one gets going just after 5 o'clock. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Sam Carchidi from Sportsnet, and we'll speed things up in the Cantor Racing Report with Colin Livingston. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
This is Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
Play Alberta has hundreds of casino games right at your fingertips. Join thousands discovering why Fortune Coin is one of Alberta's most popular games. Fill your reels with golden coins, multiply your prizes up to 6 times, and turn good spins into legendary ones. Land the Fortune Coin symbol to win cash, trigger the jackpot, launch the free spins bonus, and watch as the dragon takes over your screen. New players get 100 free spins only on playalberta.ca. Claim your offer today.
Truck Month is on now at GMC, and it's one of the best times to get behind the wheel. Right now, get a $5,000 cash purchase credit on 2025 Sierra HD models with a 13.4-inch diagonal center touchscreen, and available Duramax 6.6-liter turbo diesel V8 engine with 470 horsepower. Plus, the most trailering assistance technologies in its class. Sierra has some serious hauling power and is the only off-road ready HD. Truck Month is on now. Ask your GMC dealer for details.
Dang. Last season, you bought new clubs to fix your game. You spent the entire season trying to learn how to hit with your magic clubs. And guess what? Dang. They didn't help your game. Now you're convinced it's your swing, but it really is your clubs. Even though you were told the ones you bought were the best ever made. If they were, you would have gotten better. Every day at Fitted Golf, we continue to prove the right clubs make all the difference in the world. From beginners to pros, Fitted Golf makes all the difference. Yes, fittedgolf.ca.
After the next hockey game, you can have your say with the Sports 1440 postgame show. This is your host, Andrew Walker. Join us and give your takes on the game, good or bad. It's all brought to you by the Ridge Social Eatery in St. Albert. The postgame show on Sports 1440.
The locks are on a timer. They're going to get out.
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Service team reporting. With the remarkable reach of our bucket trucks and other equipment, we assess, service, and maintain your electrical lighting and automation systems.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
Scott McGilvery here, HGTV host and renovation expert. The one upgrade I know homeowners will love: better, fresher Culligan water straight from the tap. Culligan's AquaCentral reverse osmosis filtration system takes your water to the next level. With up to 7 stages of filtration and 14 filter options, they're certified to reduce over 90 contaminants. Your tap water is about to get a major upgrade: safer water that tastes great. Get started with a free in-home water test at Culligan.com. Culligan, water you love.
Hair Aware with Dr. Vance Elliott.
Hey, Dr. Vance, does a hair transplant have to look like a hair transplant? There's a guy at work, his is totally obvious.
My goal is to give every one of my patients a full, natural-looking head of hair, so I stay up to date on the latest innovations. This is science, and more importantly, an art. I do things differently and move more hair than is normally done, resulting in a thicker look that is also more natural.
Trust a world-renowned expert in hair restoration. Book an appointment at drvanceelliott.com today.
Don't settle for being on the rate of last resort if you don't have to be. Check your most recent electricity bill. If it says the words rate of last resort on it, then there are likely better options available for you. In fact, you could save hundreds of dollars per year by switching plans. Check your bill, then go to ucahelps.ca to explore your options. You will likely find a better rate and could have hundreds more in your pocket by the end of the year. A message from the Government of Alberta.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Ewell. Ewell.ca is your Power Play partner with a new website that puts the power in your hands with 24/7 ordering and shipping within Edmonton and across Alberta. Score an account today at ewell.ca.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Welcome back on a lovely Thursday afternoon. How are you? Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Declan Kruger, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. The Gregor Show is always presented by PlayAlberta.ca, where you can get in the game. Use the promo code Gregor50. You get a free $50 play. Now, remember, it is also the Daily Grand every Thursday. You can get your tickets, and you have a chance to win $1,000 a day for the next 20 years. Woo! Great way to wake up every day. Ka-ching! $1,000 deposit, and then just move on with your day. That would be fantastic. So play Alberta.ca. Oilers hosting the Montreal Canadiens, winners of 5 in a row. Oilers, they've only won 1 of their last 7. They need to get out of this funk that's seemingly impacting everything from goaltending, defense, offense. They all got to be better, right? Lots of the players have said it. So I don't know when, like, Edmonton's kind of weird this year. Like, they went 30 games prior to these 11 games where they're the best team in the NHL. Right? They went 22-7-1. They're the best points percentage by a significant margin. And then all of a sudden, for the last 11, it's just been brutal. And I know, hey, Gregor, it's because they're sick. Well, they weren't really sick before Four Nations, guys. Yes, Oscar, not Klefbom, but Ekholm got sick at Four Nations and has been battling it up and down. And now Klingberg's, banged up. He's a little hurt, though, too. Sickness hurt, sure. But no one else. Usually when the guys are sick, they're not skating. You know what? They're not being made available to. You're kind of like, hey, you know what? The guy's sick. Probably doesn't want to talk to him. You don't want to get sick. So that's kind of how it works. And hey, I asked Connor. He said, he was a little tired after celebrating at the Four Nations, but he's got no illness or anything. He doesn't have a point in a 5-on-5 anyway. He's got points, but he doesn't have a 5-on-5 point in 11 games, which is just mind-blowing to me. Obviously scored in the man advantage and stuff, but nothing on 5-on-5, so I would expect that to get better. Now, we got a new segment. Now, we did this before, but we're coming back, and we actually have an expert, so it's always better to have somebody who knows more than I do on certain stuff. And so we're bringing back Thirsty Thursdays. It's going to be brought to you by Sherbrooke Liquor, the House of Curiosities. That's like it's a mom and pop store. It started small. It's a curated experience. It's equal parts wine testing. Like if you want to walk in there and you want all the best wine, they got it. You want spirits, they got it. Or you just need a 2-4 for May long. Check it out at SherbrookeLiquor.com. And David Owens from Sherbrooke joins us now in studio. Dave, how you doing, my man? Geez, you got some beers all set up. This is unreal.
I'm trying to get some for the boys here also, so they can be a part of this whole program.
So give us a little background on like how do you become an aficionado like yourself when it comes to because you guys, I've been to Sherbrooke Liquor many times, but I went for a real tour. And if you want to try, whiskeys, tequilas, and you guys got a huge section now of non-alcoholic stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. It's something we my family bought this business. It was one of the original stores that opened after everything went privatized here in Alberta. And we had another business going. We picked this one up. Turned out it was the better business. It was way cooler. And here we are today. So and what it started with was just collecting beer, being something, trying to stand out different. And at that time, there wasn't a whole lot out there. But we were starting to see this trickle in of these, of Belgian beers and things like that. So we started becoming that place that you could get European beers.
I love Belgium. Well, Belgium's really kind of known for their beers. That's one of the things they specialize in, correct?
Absolutely. Some of the best, absolute best in the beers in the world. And, some of the best examples. People are trying to copy them all the time.
What makes their beer so good?
Well, they've had hundreds of years of practice.
Practice makes perfect.
Practice makes perfect. Yeah, absolutely. It's the care and attention, detail to it. Water, of course, makes a big part of it. We're going to be trying some Trappist beer today, and the monks have been perfecting this for centuries. So pretty excited.
Now, before we get to those that were tried, because when I went in to meet you a few weeks ago, you gave me a Guinness. And you gave me two of them, and here, test these. So I take a sip of one, and I like Guinness. Then I take a sip of the other one. I'm like, oh, yeah, they're both pretty good. I couldn't really tell the difference. Well, one of them is non-alcoholic, right? Like there's been a real uptick in non-alcoholic beverages that taste exceptionally well. Like, because I'll be honest, it used to be at the kind of the infancy stage of non-alcoholic. You're just like, why would I drink this? This is awful. Just give me a glass of water. But now it's totally different.
It is so different. It has come leaps and bounds. And really just even the last, 2-3 years, it's still evolving, but yeah, they're starting to unlock that magic key on keeping the whole flavor, keeping the body of the beer there, and producing a really fantastic tasting beer that tastes like the beer that you can crush 4 or 5 of them on a Sunday and don't have to worry about getting in trouble.
Yeah, because they're non-alcoholic.
They're non-alcoholic.
Exactly. So today, let's get into it, because what we're going to do when we do Thursdays, we're going to tap into different things. We will have some segments on non-alcoholic beverages. We'll talk about wine. We'll talk about spirits. So today we're going to start off with some Belgian beers. What do we bring in? What do we got?
Yeah, so what I thought we'd do today would be kind of fun is we're going to do 2 Belgian beers, and we're also going to do 2 Alberta beers that are, fine examples of copying that style. Not copying the style, but, emulating it for sure.
Okay.
And so the first one we're going to start off with today is actually the DuPont, the Saison DuPont. This is the OG of Saisons. This is the original.
Okay.
It is absolutely amazing. This is a new version of it. It's all organic. First in the market, hasn't changed the profile of it whatsoever. But this is one of the original fantastic beers out there. Saison, it's a seasonal beer. It's also sometimes known as a farmhouse ale or a table beer. And so typically what's
a table beer mean? What does that mean?
So basically what it means is that these, as a farmhouse ale table beer, it was brewed in the winter time to be drank in the summer by the farmers when they're working out in the fields and coming back and finishing that off. Wow. So it is a light, refreshing beer, quite often lower in alcohol. And this one here is this one's 5%. But typically anywhere between 2 to 5% alcohol.
They have 2% beers?
Yeah, we're gonna try one here today too.
Really?
Yeah.
The point of that? No, I'm kidding. All right, let me try it. I love beers.
So this is the Saison DuPont, and again, this one is brewing since 1884. Originally a farm brewery, which is great for the style of beer it is.
Well, yeah, that's pretty. To me, I like it because it's got some flavor and it has zero aftertaste.
Yeah, crisp, clean, finishes nice. I sat there with that cloying kind of feeling that a lot of big beers can sometimes leave you.
Yeah, that's.
So imagine this on a hot day.
Like it looks a little bit like a lager, but it tastes more like an ale.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. And so, with these Saisons too, they use a bit of it's a different style of yeast. So you're getting a more effervescent, almost like a champagne kind of bubble to it compared to like a lager, right? Ooh. So it's a tighter bubble. Classy, way more classy. And less less air getting into your belly for that too, which is great.
So less burping is what you're telling me.
Less
we're putting
burping.
it polite. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And so you can see drinking this on a hot summer day. Nice, refreshing, great beer. Finished working in the fields. Awesome.
Okay. What do we got next? David Owens joins us from Sherbrooke Liquor, and we're doing Thirsty Thursday. We'll have lots of different stuff. We'll put some pictures up after the names that we got some people texting in on what they want to try. And if you're curious about some topic that you want, feel free to let us know when it comes to Thirsty Thursdays moving forward.
Awesome. So this one here is it's a Shays Lounge table beer, they call it. This is from the Establishment Brewing Company, which is down south in Alberta. They have won Alberta Brewery of the Year. They won Canada Brewery of the Year. These guys know what they're doing. This is fantastic. And this beer here comes in at a whopping 2.9%.
Like it almost looks like lemonade.
Right? Nice light. And with this one,
that's very light. It almost doesn't taste like beer to me.
Yeah, it's got a bit of a tartness to it.
Yes.
And so you're getting that tart. So imagine that, again, hot day.
Because for some people, when it comes to beers now, like the flavors are very different. Like tart, I think, is a very good way to. I wouldn't have used that word because obviously you're the expert. But once you said it, I'm like, oh yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are like, nowadays, I think we're changing. Maybe like you used to want to, hey, you know what? I want to have 12 beers because I want to get buckled, right? When you're at a certain age, when you're younger, then as maybe you get older and you're just, you know what? Hey, now I just want one that tastes good. So if I sip it, kind of like, you know, people when they drink wine. Right? Like, have you found the beer industry has become a little bit like the wine industry in the sense that people are looking for good tasting beers, not just ones that get them hammered?
You know, absolutely. And I think, you know, as we talked before, you know, with the non-alcoholic beverages, not just beers, but wines, spirits, even that are out there, you're seeing that climate and they're all looking for that flavor. People want to be able to, you know, have a quality beverage with their food, with a meal, after mowing the lawn, whatever it may be, but they don't always want to be getting smashed out there all the time.
And what's that beer? Again, what was this one called?
So this one here is the Shays Lounge Table Beer from Establishment. It's a pretty cool beer. It's not in many stores.
I was just gonna say, yeah, like you guys have a lot of unique beverages.
Yeah, we usually carry in our cooler, our walk-in cooler itself, we use between 1,500 and 2,000 different beers at any given time throughout the year based on seasons, things like that.
Okay. And so now we got another dark one.
Okay, yeah. So now we're moving into a dark. So we're going into a Trappist beer. So this is the Trappist Rochefort 10. So we're stepping up the game here a little bit. I think we're at 11.3% here.
So we're going from 2.9 to 11.3.
2.9 to 11. That's right.
So I'm just having a sip here.
That's right. So so this is the Rochefort. This is one of the original Trappist beers. They've been doing this since the 1800s also.
Like it's interesting for people, and Cons will get you to try one, but when the difference between the light beer and the heavy beer that we just had, the 11%, like it doesn't, I'm not like, because I remember when I think it was, might have been Molson X when it came out, and it was like a 7.5% beer, and God, like it tasted disgusting, but you're like, oh, but it has more alcohol, so I don't have to drink as many. This one you mentions 11%. So what do they do to make it have, like, what are they pumping in to go from 2% to 11%?
Yeah, so that, that's all the yeast and the sugars that go in there. And so when you look at the Rochefort, this is a 10 example. They also have a 6 and an 8. We have 8s and 10s available right now in Alberta. That number there is what it is. It's basically talking about the sugars that are available to be eaten to turn into alcohol. So that higher that number, the higher the alcohol is going to be.
So does that mean there's more sugar in the beer then?
No.
Oh.
So the higher the alcohol content, the less sugar there's going to be. And so because the alcohol, the yeast has been eating all those sugars to turn it into alcohol.
Okay.
So the higher the alcohol, less sugar ultimately. So same thing when you're looking at wine. If you're looking for a drier wine, look for a high alcohol wine. If you're looking at low alcohol, it's probably a sweeter wine.
Wow. There we go. See, that's why we get you on, David. Never I would have thought the complete opposite. Okay. This, honestly, of the three, this is my favorite by far.
Yeah, I knew it.
So far. Yeah.
So far. Yeah, it's a fantastic beer. And this is one of those beers too, you can kind of cradle it in your hand a little bit.
Yeah.
Take some time, let it warm up a little bit as well. And you're gonna get way more.
Yeah, so we've had some people texting, David, does the temperature of the beer change how it tastes?
Yeah, so a Rochefort 10 like this, absolutely. We would recommend this to be drank at like a cellar temperature, right? So that 6 to 8 degrees kind of thing.
Okay.
So a little bit warmer than your normal beer.
So you'd maybe store it in your fridge and then take it out 2 hours before you want to drink
take
it?
a little bit out.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And why is that? Like, why does it taste better room temperature?
Well, if you chill anything, you're going to take away some of the flavors that are out there. Our taste buds just aren't adept at dealing with that frozen thing. So, if you're drinking a whiskey and throwing a whole bunch of ice in it, it's going to be a lot easier to drink,
right,
than if it was warmed up, right? So you'll get way more flavor this way.
Awesome. And what do we have? What's our last one?
All right, our last one here. This is a really cool beer. This is a collaboration between Blind Man Brewing, Strathcona Distilling, and ourselves, and the Saki Gummy Corp. And so this is a sake barrel-aged Belgian strong ale.
Like sake, like Japan?
Mm-hmm. So we were talking with our friends at Blind Man one day about how cool it would be to do a beer that was aged in a sake barrel. And it just so happened that a couple of the guys from Blind Man were going to Japan. And so we were able to hook them up with a brewery there. They went on a tour and they gave them a barrel. And as it turns out, these little cedar barrels are just the right size for a full-size plain overhead bin. And they smuggled this on here, and we brought it back. It's really intense, this cedar. It's all fresh, brand new. So we thought, okay, we got to calm this thing down. So we gave it to Strathcona Spirits. They put their Seaberry gin into it, aged that for a while, took out a whole bunch of that cedar, and then we gave it to Blind Man, and they put this Belgian dark strong ale in here, and here we are.
So this is obviously very authentic beer.
This is very authentic Belgian dark strong style beer.
And what's it called again?
This is the sake barrel aged Belgian dark strong. It's a beer we put together with everybody. So this is available at our stores at Blind Man Brewing, and we also have a pack where you can get all three. You can get a bottle of sake, a bottle of the barrel aged gin, the same barrel, and this.
I have one quick question comes in from Michelle. Hey guys, I've gotten into beer by drinking sours and light pale ales. I'm a wine and whiskey drinker. I've not been a fan of hoppy IPAs. What Belgian beer style are simple to North America or similar to North American beers? What would you suggest for people entering the beer market?
Yeah, well, I think we just talked about with the saison we just brought in, and if they're drinking those sours, this kind of table beer here, the Chaise Lounge, that tartness that was in it, you're getting those in those sour ales as well.
This one definitely, the light beer here definitely was the most sour.
That would be a bang on one to go right in there for sure. Yeah, stick with the lighter ales that are out there, the saisons, table beers, things like that. And we can explore a little bit further as we go along with the segment and bring in some bigger, crazier ones from some other fruit beers from Belgium and places like that also may appeal.
That's fantastic. Well, David, great, man. I really appreciate it. This is interesting. We'll put up, we'll probably get we'll get a picture of all four beers. We'll put it up on our socials so people can see it, so they see the label, just in case they didn't catch the name. And we'll do that every Thursday. Awesome stuff, man. We'll talk to you again next Thursday.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks so much. Looking forward. Next week we'll do something St. Patty's Day focused.
Ooh, not green though, right? You don't
not
put
green.
Not green.
We don't put green. No way, man. No way. We'll see you next Thursday.
You betcha. That's David Owens from Sherbrooke Liquor. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We got by the way, trades are happening today in the National Hockey League. We are under 22 hours from the NHL trade deadline, and I do still expect the Edmonton Oilers to be in the market. We'll talk about some defensemen next on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Mr. Ruther checks off his bucket list.
Skydiving is tops on my list.
I want to go to Bali.
What's at the top of your bucket list, Mr. Ruther?
Definitely the Rubbermaid H2864R. It has 14 quarts of capacity with a spill-free pour spout and a corrosion-resistant handle. Wow, what a bucket.
You know that a bucket list isn't a list of nice buckets, right?
I do. That's how good this bucket is.
For a plumber with buckets of plumbing passion, call Mr. Ruther.
Okay, how about you give us your star winger for a bag of putts? What if I throw in some Will Hawk beef jerky?
Yourself a trade.
With Will Hawk beef jerky on their side, the Alberta teams definitely have an unfair advantage this trade deadline. Pick up some today and use it for trade leverage in your fantasy league.
No way, man. It's way too good.
Will Hawk beef jerky, only available in Leduc. Get yours today, because you don't win trades with salad.
At Leading Edge Physiotherapy, we believe in the wisdom of Patch Adams. Treat a disease, you win, you lose. Treat a person, I guarantee you'll win no matter what the outcome. We don't treat conditions, we treat people. From personalized treatment plans to compassionate care, we're committed to helping you achieve your goal. That's why hands-on techniques, unique technologies, and a commitment to hiring amazing people mixed with friendly, fun neighborhood environments. And ta-da! No, it's not magic. It's about being human. Sometimes being human hurts, but life shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
It's the best time of the year, championship season. In the Junior Prospects Hockey League, the quest to claim the Prospects Cup begins with 4 divisions from across Western Canada taking aim. The Hockey Super League's run to the HSL Championship will feature 105 teams battling it out in 4 communities throughout Alberta. And the Female Super League, in its inaugural season, will see teams compete for playoff supremacy. To catch all the championship action, head to silentice.com for league playoff schedules.
Your courtside seat awaits on Sports 1440. I'm Paul Sir, and I host the basketball show every Saturday morning from 10 to noon on Edmonton's sports leader, Sports 1440. Don't miss it. I'll catch
catch you this weekend.
Introducing the new McSpicy from McDonald's. It looks like a regular chicken sandwich, but it's actually a spicy chicken sandwich. McSpicy. Consider yourself warned. Limited time only. Participate in McDonald's in Canada.
At Papa John's, you get your everyday favorites for just $9.99 each when you order 2 or more items from the Papa Pairings menu. When you order more, you save more. Choose from medium one-topping pizzas, boneless wings, papadillas, French sticks, cheese sticks, and desserts. It's easy to order all your favorites when they're just $9.99 each. So the next time your friends come over to eat your food, check out the Papa Pairings menu to save. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's.
At Schwab Buick GMC, our boss is serious about cutting prices on vehicles like Sierras and Silverados. When?
Right Schwabbing now! Right Schwabbing now!
So when he sees the MSRP, he says,
That's not Schwabbing good enough!
He's always looking for more.
Dig the Schwab in!
Save with 0% financing or lease rates as low as 1.9% on 2024 half-ton trucks.
Right now!
At Schwab Chevrolet Buick GMC in Leduc. Right Schwabbing now!
Explore Internet just got 10 times faster. 5G Ultra brings incredible speeds to homes in rural and small town Canada. Upgrade today at xplore.ca.
This is going to make you hungry. Booster Juice just dropped new guacamole and black bean grilled fresh options.
What the guac?
Yeah, a guacamole black bean wrap, guacamole chicken panini, and an egg and chipotle black bean wrap.
What a trio! Holy guacamole!
Bye-bye, boring as bread sandwiches.
Guac, yeah! New flavors, new cravings.
Avocado up to wraps and paninis from Booster Juice. Canadian-born blending since 1999. Download the Booster Rewards app and order one today.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Sherbrooke Liquor. Sherbrooke is a house of curiosities, a mom and pop, a curated experience that is equal parts wine tastings and 2 fours from a long. See more at SherbrookeLiquor.com.
Hat tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
We continue on a lovely Thursday afternoon. How are you? Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. Gregor, I love you bringing back Thirsty Thursday, man, and that was very educational. I'll be stopping in at Sherbrooke right away. That one comes from Doug. I'm telling you, man, if you like to try different things, and I was blown away by the non-alcoholic section and all the options they have there. And I told you, I had a non-alcoholic Guinness. I could not believe how good it tastes. Like, I was like, what? And I bought some because now I got a few. Because sometimes you know how sometimes you just want to have a beer and you're just like, yeah, but I don't want to feel like, because sometimes even if you have 2, you're just like the next day you don't feel great. Maybe not you youngsters, because when I was young I never had that, but all of a sudden you get a little older and you're just like, geez. But I like the taste of it sometimes. It's just like the taste. And I drink tons of water, but sometimes you want something with a little flavor in it. So check it out. We got a lot of texts, 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440 in our E-Well inbox. Hey, Gregor, who are some of the defensemen I'm patiently waiting? Oh, we'll get to them. Don't you worry. There's lots of them out there. And Sam Cosentino is going to join us. We're going to get his thoughts on some of them right now as we go around the NHL, brought to you by McDonald's. Stop in today. The Big Mac David is still available, only for a limited time at McDonald's. As Sam Cosentino from Sportsnet joins us. And Sam, we're under 24 hours, 22 actually, until the trade deadline. And the Edmonton Oilers need a defenseman. And you look out there like there's rumblings, maybe Brandon Carlo in Boston. You've got Ristolainen in Philadelphia. You got Alexiak. You got Murphy. Of those 4, is there one you like better?
I kind of like Alexiak. Like when you look at the way that teams have gone here in the Stanley Cup playoffs the last couple of years, that size, the reach, the length, the ability to block shots. And I think Alexiak, he's sort of been under the radar as a guy he's got better hands than you think. He moves pucks better than you would think. I think the impression out there about him is that he's just kind of a big guy who gets in the way, but he's more than that. And he's got character, and so he's not going to disrupt your room whatsoever. So he's a guy that I like a lot. And then, he's not going to go out there and be the aggressor, but he is going to be a guy who's going to take care of the net front. He's going to let you know when you get in the corner or along the wall that he's around, and he has some physicality to him, but normally not the aggressor. But he's the guy I think I like the best of that group. And there's a little bit of term left there. So.
Yeah, well, he's got term. Ristolainen has term. Carlo, I like Brandon Carlo a lot too. So there's, they couldn't go wrong. The reason I like him is just because he's a natural righty, right? In certain situations, having a righty on the right side does help you. But Oleksiak is appealing because he's such a man child. Like you play him with Darnell Nurse, and you've got a huge pairing.
Yeah, and I like that element too. I mean, when you're talking about the right side piece like that, that's ever so important. I mean, my goodness, I've been lucky enough to do a couple of games there down at ice level with the Senators, and was there against San Jose on Saturday night. And my goodness, is the game fast. So to pull pucks off the wall on the offside is a real challenge. So the righty thing, I think it's real for sure. And so that's an element you want to take into consideration as well. I mean, Mike Babcock was always adamant about having his left rights in all the pairings and all the years that he coached. And there was definitely something to that.
Yeah, it definitely. Adam Oates has told me he thinks the hardest play in hockey is there for a defenseman to go back under pressure and make plays with the puck. He just thinks it's the hardest play in hockey to do, and to do it well consistently. So if you find a defenseman who can do that, you know what? You're going to be able to break out, and especially on a team like Edmonton, if you can get a D-man and get back and retrieve the pucks cleanly, and suddenly he's getting it out more to McDavid and Draisaitl, well, now you got a big advantage.
A huge advantage. And that's the thing. Like, you don't have to be fancy. All you have to do is avoid that first wave. And if you can get by that first wave and get it into the forward's hands, thank you very much. I'll just hang back here, wait to maybe draw an apple once we get into the ozone and have at it. So that element is huge. It's underrated. I talk a lot when you're, looking at players for the draft, the ability to make a first pass, the ability to get back on pucks. You have a great skating defenseman, but maybe his routes aren't there or his play recognition isn't there, and he doesn't get back on pucks as quickly as he should based on his skating. And that's a key element. So that falls into the IQ category, and being able to do that is such a huge, huge advantage for the players that have that to their game. It seems like a simple thing, but it's more than that, and it's highly effective and highly coveted.
Sam Cosentino joins us. Sam, give me your thoughts on what you think Tread Frederick, for Oiler fans who haven't seen him, what he's going to bring to Edmonton.
Yeah, I love it. A lot of grit, a lot of determination. He brings some speed to the game, and he's got some undercover skill. Like, I remember back when he was drafted too, and I thought, like, who is this guy? And is he a little high for where he's going? And it turns out he's probably exactly where he should have been. But I love that grit, the determination, the persistence in his game, and the fact that someone starts to run around a little bit, he has the ability to calm things down, at least in that middle to heavyweight category, more so the middleweight category. But it's not a huge element of the game anymore, but it's nice to have, because if someone starts running around, you want to be able to make sure you take care of that.
And do a guy who was, a first round pick back in 2016. Now, I know obviously what happened way back when doesn't really matter till now, but Max Jones, he's a big guy. He can skate. And when I look at Edmonton, he brings something they don't have. And I'm not sure he'll be a regular when Frederick and Kane are here. I'm probably guessing he won't be, but just the size factor, and he's got way more speed than some of their other wingers, and what he could potentially add up until Frederick and Kane are back.
Well, I think that was an element that people have noticed a lot about the Oilers this year, that based on some of the deletions from last year's lineup, that the overall speed of the team and the pace of the team was significantly less. Like, the one thing I'll say about Jonesy is if he plays straight line hockey, he is going to let some defensemen hear footsteps. And that's exactly what you want out of him. He'll bang the body. He'll get in first on the forecheck. And if he plays a simple straight line game, he'll get to the net front once in a while. He's got a bit of skill there. He's not a guy that you want handling the puck and making plays, but you want him to get after it. And you want him to be a menace, maybe some open ice stuff in the neutral zone to let the opponents know that there's a price for going back on pucks, and there's a price for coming up the middle of the ice unchecked. He is all of that. There's no doubt about it.
So let's look at a few teams. The Toronto Maple Leafs, how desperate? Well, desperate might be hyperbolic, but considering what Tampa and Florida's done, how imperative do you think it is for Toronto to go out there and add something to their team?
Well, it's absolutely imperative. And it's funny because like a month ago, we're sitting there and you're looking at the Atlantic and you're saying, oh, well, Boston's gone away and Tampa's gone away. And you get to just before the start of the Four Nations and Tampa reels off 4 straight. And Vasilevsky looks like the guy he was, when they were winning cups in 20 and 21. And Kuch is just doing his thing, points amazing. And then they come out of the break and start winning more games. They're like, no, this is a GM who's not going to sleep. He's going to go out and make his massive move. Same thing for Florida. Florida's like, yeah, we went to the finals one year. We won the next. We're not satisfied with just that. We're going to start to gear it up a notch. And so now you're sitting in the Atlantic and you're saying these two teams have made moves. We have to go out and do something. The first puzzle piece to fall is putting Reeves on waivers, and maybe you're open up a little bit of cap space there. But I'm absolutely fascinated to see what Tree Living has up his sleeve, because I think he needs at least a move to counter what those other two teams have done, if not for the talent piece of it, but for the message piece you send to the rest of the group saying, we're confident in this group. We think this group is playing differently than it has in years past. And I think we need to send a message that management is confident to go out and add to the group as opposed to just standing pat.
Sam Cosentino joins us. Sam, the Winnipeg Jets have been very, very good. Brock Nelson is clearly the best center iceman available. We know Toronto wants him. I think obviously Winnipeg would like him. There's a few other teams. Cheveldayoff is, you know what? Hey, they got the big extensions in Hellebuck and Scheifele. A lot of people thought they were going to leave town. They didn't. How imperative it is, do you think, that does he owe it to that group to say, man, I got to go get Nelson. He's the clear best fit for our team.
Well, when I look at their group, I look down the middle of the ice and it's fantastic, right? And so you think, okay, well, how is it going to work with Nemesnikov down the middle in your second line? Well, he and Ehlers have great chemistry, and along with Perfetti, they've had an amazing year. But he's the guy that I think you can swing up and down the lineup. So now you're looking at Nelson. If you throw him in that 2C spot, now you're really cooking, because Nemesnikov goes to that fourth line. You got Kapari and Barron down there, and now you're cooking. We know what their third line has done with Appleton, Lowry, and Niederreiter. And now you're thinking to yourself, all right, there's absolutely no holes here. And Nelson adds that just additional layer of scoring. Of course, we saw at the start of the year, 4.5 goals per game, power play, unbelievable. But you can't help but add, a guy who scores 30 goals every year, who by all accounts, I heard a story about him this morning, is just loaded with character. I think the thing for Winnipeg, though, is to do the rental thing with what limited resources they have to give up probably doesn't work. If they get an extension and maybe, his buddies with Hellebuck and Connor and, a little bit of the American crew that's gone in there, maybe that becomes a more viable option where you're a little bit more willing to give up some of the future as opposed to just doing the rental thing. So I've been on like Braden Shen being that guy because he's $6.5 million, because he's got term, because he adds insurance in case Ehlers leaves. There is some certainty. He's a Western Canadian kid. Like a lot of things I think fit there. I just don't know what that cost looks like. Maybe they change course now, St. Louis, with Parayko going on the injured list and out for the next 6 weeks. It probably changes the trajectory of their playoff hopes.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
Sam, well, that's a huge blow for them for sure. And so I don't know if they're going to add, they got so many defensemen, but yeah, that's bad timing. No question. Great stuff, Sam. Who would be, I'll ask you for fun. Do you think Rantanen gets traded?
I don't think so. And here's why. You're not going to recoup what you gave up. And I just don't know if the owner is into that. So I think at that point you say, we're going to kick this embarrassment down the road and try and win a cup. And if we win a cup, then, and he walks, all right, so be it. We'll fill that spot with somebody else when the cap goes up. I just don't think you can recoup it. Now, Elliott tells me differently, that he thinks that there's a couple of teams out there that might not give back quite as much as what they gave up, but at least doable in that situation. The other thing I think about is, the teams that want him are in the same position as where Carolina is. So you're going to subtract from that lineup. Of course, you're going to get Rantanen, who's a top 10 player, but maybe you mix up what's already existing there. And that might be challenging for some teams that are in a position to go out and get that type of player. I'm fascinated by that dynamic altogether. The one other thing I'd say about that is if you give Rantanen more time where he can actually go and enjoy the town a little bit and see what life is like there and what the fan support is like through a playoff run, maybe Aho continues to get in his pocket, and all of a sudden, all right, the signing thing works. The additional element to that is you go into the offseason, you can offer him the additional year, you use that as leverage, and you say, you know what, if we can't get this thing done, let's auction him off to the best seller and just recoup whatever we can, hopefully after a long playoff run and even a Stanley Cup, and then it works, maybe it works from there.
Sam, great stuff, man. It's going to be a fascinating final few hours. We appreciate your time today. Thanks so much.
Okay, Jason, great talking to you. Take care.
You betcha. There's Sam Cosentino joining us from Sportsnet. We got a lot of texts flying in on the defenseman guys. How serious do you think the Carlo is? Honestly, like I've always said, no one thought Ekholm was going to get traded. So you never really know. But the job as the GM is to get out there and find out, hey, what can you offer them? Right? Like, where's Boston going? I don't know. Right? You just made a deal with Frederick. So now, I don't know, maybe Carlo's name was mentioned and didn't work there, but maybe it works later. Who knows? But I think you got to look. Alexiak, Carlo. Now, Susu would probably be the bottom one. Ristolainen, huge body. Now, the return is, and maybe there's some retention, but Connor Murphy, there's some guys out there. There's no doubt there's some guys out there. And I do believe that Edmonton, there's way more right defensemen who can play second pair available than there are any goaltenders that are available. If you really want a goaltender, I've always said, send us the list. We're getting tons of people suggesting on defense. No one's suggesting goalies. Why? Because there's really none available. So you have to look and say, hey, if you have better team defense, guess what? Goalies, they play better. The numbers back it up. You can go read my article today at OilersNation.com. Now, does Stu Skinner got to play better? Of course he does. I don't discount that. But I don't think they can find an upgrade, but you can find upgrades for your defense. So go do that. And that in itself can help. Obviously, in the meantime, you got to, you hope that Skinner can find the way he played for the majority of the playoffs. Because look, 21 games in the playoffs last year, Skinner was solid. It was the 2 really bad games against Vancouver that crushed his numbers. I get it. And you don't want that. He's got to eliminate, you can have an off night, but it can't be just in the ditch, 8 rows deep in the ditch. You know how sometimes you ride off into the shoulder, you pull it back in? Well, you don't need to be all 4 wheels in the ditch. Bad. That's where he's got to stop. We'll come back on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Alberta has hundreds of casino games right at your fingertips. Join thousands discovering why Fortune Coin is one of Alberta's most popular games. Fill your reels with golden coins, multiply your prizes up to 6 times, and turn good spins into legendary ones. Land the Fortune Coin symbol to win cash, trigger the jackpot, launch the free spins bonus, and watch as the dragon takes over your screen. New players get 100 free spins only on PlayAlberta.ca. Claim your offer today.
Oil Kings Hockey at Rogers Place is family fun that's second to none. And this Sunday afternoon, the team gives back to you.
The Fan Appreciation Game is back, one of the biggest games of the season.
Fans in attendance receive a scratch and win ticket with thousands of instant win prizes up for grabs.
Plus, all the Family Fun Sunday face painting, bounty castles, and Calmont Kids food combos for $10 or less.
Edmonton Oil Kings, Swift Current Broncos, Fan Appreciation Game. Family Fun Sunday at 4.
Great family entertainment at Rogers Place starts at just $20 a seat. Save on day of game pricing now at oilkings.ca.
Are you tired of waking up tired? Are you tossing and turning all night and stiff and sore the next morning? If your sleep is suffering, it's time to visit the Brick Mattress Store. Their sleep experts will help you find the right support for a restful night's sleep. Back sleeper, side sleeper, hot or cold, there is a perfect mattress for you. Plus, with next day delivery, your best night's sleep could be tomorrow. Check out the Brick Mattress Store locations in Spruce Grove, South Edmonton, St. Albert, and Leduc, and start waking up refreshed.
There's an old saying that goes, many hands make light work. We believe that at GS Construction. So what does it mean? It means a task is easier to complete when many people work together. It also means that GS Construction is preparing for the start of the 2025 season and is hiring. Currently, we're on the lookout for top men and pipe layers. So if you're one of those skilled pros who know how to do your job safely and efficiently, we're interested. Come join a team that's as solid as the infrastructure we build and maintain. Visit tsconstruction.ca today.
I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantork. Since 2016, we've been at the forefront of hydraulic torque wrenches in Canada. I'm delighted to share our latest venture, in-house production for quicker turnaround, superior quality, and heightened versatility. Experience excellence at Cantork.com.
A few years ago, I was doing okay, but the rising cost of living has made my credit card bills go through the roof, and I don't know how to handle it anymore.
Times are tough. The cost of living is causing many to fall into debt through no fault of their own. It's easy to feel overwhelmed and stressed. There are options that can help you get back on your feet. My name is Parveen Middleton, and I'm a licensed insolvency trustee at BDO here in Edmonton. I can help you find a solution to become debt-free. Visit bdodebt.ca to learn more.
You know what they say about March, in like a lamb, out with a Honda. Or is it in like a lion out with a Honda? Either way, Sherwood Honda has inventory on the lot, so you can march right down and get yours today. New or used, sedan or coupe, SUV or truck, Sherwood Honda has it with financing available. And their service department will keep you rolling as time marches on. This March, you have an in at Sherwood Honda. Now sing us out.
You lost access? Portions of this hour brought to you by Culligan. For all your residential water needs, your local water treatment company. More than just big bottles, Culligan.com.
Tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.347. Welcome back, Jason Gregor. Connor Halley, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. Ray Texan. Beers on the radio, Dr. Johnny Fever. Yeah, well, he was probably drinking a lot more. I just took a few sips, but God, they were good. Still have them here. Just a little, all you need is a little sipper. Just try it. So it's great. We got a lot of texts coming. Many of you big fans of lots of different beers, and looking forward to our Thirsty Thursday segment every week. Awesome. Hey, guys, quickly, should the Oilers be in on Rantanen? I don't. When I guess, right? Like if you struck out on other things, but if I said right now, what do the Oilers need? Mikko Rantanen, or do they need a second pair of defensemen? The Oilers are still, even with their funk, they're still what, top 6 team in scoring? I'd still go with the. I know that's crazy because Rantanen's really good, but I don't think you can have McDavid at whatever he's going to be at 16 or whatever it is, and Draisaitl at 14 and Rantanen at that. Like I just don't think you can have all, especially all forwards. Right? If you Tampa's done it, but they had a goalie expensive, a defenseman expensive, and 2 forwards expensive. I don't think you can have all 3 as Toronto. I don't think it works. So I'd be surprised there to see him involved with the Edmonton Oilers. It would be great. Don't get me wrong, but I think right now, if you could get the right defenseman and then somehow manage to get Rantanen, whew, now you're talking. But that's a little bit of a fantasy world, but. Dare to dream, shall they say. Dare to dream. Let's get to the racing report now, brought to you by Cantork. They offer rental, repair, and calibration of hydraulic, pneumatic, and battery-powered torque wrenches, stud tensioners, and flange maintenance equipment. Learn more at cantork.com. And we are a week away. We have IndyCar going, but you got a week away from F1. Like racing season is back, Colin. So I want to get right into it. An interesting storyline that you mentioned to us that, Max Verstappen, he currently has 8 points on his license. A lot of people listening are like, what? Do you get demerits in F1? Well, essentially, he's got 8 points on his license, and none start to expire until July. 12 points gives you an automatic suspension. Now, his car is not as fast. We know he's super aggressive driver. How do you get points on your license? Like, could it be in 1, or would he need 2 infractions to go from 8 to 12?
It depends on the infraction. When you do something that's over the line, you cause an accident, you have an unsafe situation, you don't follow the race director's rules, they can award penalty points. And, because Max is a very aggressive driver, he is higher up on the list. I mean, the only person that's actually faced an actual suspension was Kevin Magnussen last year. But yeah, with the look that their car isn't going to be as competitive, one of 2 things is going to happen. Max is going to either go back to his old way where he's really desperate, really aggressive, and takes these super, super low percentage passing opportunities, trying to get the other drivers around him to chicken out, or he will potentially start throwing in the towel and just know that the car's not good and not really give the same effort. But it'd be really interesting to see a driver at that level potentially get a suspension The only thing that the joke that's going around is his girlfriend is pregnant, and it's right about that time that she's supposed to be giving birth. I'm not sure how far along she really is, but at some point during this year, he might take that penalty just so he can get a couple extra weeks off and spend some time with the baby.
Now, speaking with F1, and we'll get to Indy in a sec. The other big news is it looks like maybe Cadillac is closer to getting into F1, but it seems that like for 2 years they tried to, and they're like, no. But once Andretti removed himself from it, now they're close. So did Andretti do something to piss off F1? Like what happened in here?
Very, very, very clearly he did, because it was the moment that he pulled his name off the bid and he backed out of the F1 team that they pretty much instantly granted the team to Cadillac. The part that really pisses me off, and one of the things I hate more than anything is hypocrisy. For the 2 years that they were campaigning for a team, all the other existing teams said there's no room on the grid. They don't bring anything significant to the sport. They don't create any extra value. Well, this week, Stefano Domenicali says it's going to be really great. We already have 3 races in the state, so having a true US based manufacturer is really going to add value to the series. It's like they said that for 2 years, and you extended them a middle finger. Now all of a sudden, it's a really good thing. The politics and the backroom deals and all this nonsense that goes on, again, it doesn't really affect a lot of fans, and it doesn't really change the way these races happen. But there's so many things that go on behind the scenes that are just maddening. And all of these people are really acting in their own interest without any real thought for what's better for the sport.
Yeah. Okay. So it does seem odd. And the Red Bull racing employee who had said Christian Horner had some inappropriate behavior, alleged it was cleared by F1. Now, though, she's taken the case to the UK Employment Tribunal. So this is not over.
No, definitely not. Cleared the internal investigation by Red Bull, cleared with their quote unquote contract legal team, cleared by Formula One. But now I think this is where things are really going to get quite serious for Mr. Horner. We know the employee in question, she spent time in IndyCar. I know several of the teams and drivers that she worked with, and they cannot speak highly enough of this person. That, the things that keep coming up are ethics and morals and honesty and hard work and all the rest of it. So to hear how demeaning that they've been about this person when it's very clear what happened. There's pictures and there's text messages and all of this got released to the media, but there's been a media publication ban that they can't really share a lot of what's going on. This is going to be a very big distraction after last year's already big distraction. So again, this is not really working in Red Bull's favor.
Now let's switch over to IndyCar, and Scott Dixon basically ran his entire race without communication with his team. He still finished second. His only indications of when to come in were his fuel alarm and having the, kind of the mental awareness to understand what his strategy should be. And he finished second, and people were raving about it. So first of all, what happened with the communication? How come they could never get it going? And would this be something that racing would ever consider saying, hey, let's have less communication and let's just see what the drivers can do without it?
Which one do you want to do first? What happened or the potential?
Yeah, what happened and then the potential.
His radio just didn't work. And, a team like Ganassi, they've got a radio specialist that just does the radios. They test these things, they retest, they triple chest, they would have been on an outlap, and they get the driver to do radio checks at, and you'll hear the guys, if you can actually get their live radio, where he'll say like, okay, radio check turn 1. Yeah, we got you loud and clear. Radio check turn 3, because they know for us, like for our NASCAR program, when we're running a Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, we know that once the cars kind of get to the bottom of the hill around 5A and 5B, we can't get our radios to work. There's a lot of trees in the way. There's a lot of hills, campers, all that stuff. GP3R in Three Rivers is another bad one. There's a baseball stadium in the way. There's all kinds of buildings, and we have terrible communication there. But they would have gone through all that. The fact that he managed to finish second with no communication is indescribably awesome, because he didn't know, like, the team will communicate all kinds of data to the driver. They'll let you know, like, okay, well, that's Newgarden behind you. You've got a 2.4 second gap. He's on the push to pass. He's got 48 seconds of push to pass where you've got, 69 seconds. He had no idea what he was up against and still managed to, to fend him off. I mean, Newgarden, it sounds like he ran out of fuel on the last lap, but still absolutely remarkable. If they were that good without radios, they're going to be a force this year. But I don't think there's ever a time that the series is going to want the driver to run without communication, because so much safety goes through that radio to let a driver know instantly that there's a crash, that the crash is on, the right side as you come around this corner, so that they're not surprised by it. There's a million things that the teams communicate, aside from strategy, to make sure that, the drivers are completely aware of what's going on. If that had happened to us in NASCAR, and any of the levels of NASCAR, you get parked. They don't let you run, because that's how your spotter also communicates. IndyCar, you don't necessarily have to have a spotter, especially on the road courses. You do on the ovals, but that's a tech item. And if you don't have proven radio communication, they won't let you run.
But do you think it might be better if there was just, let's see the race? So you meet before the race. Okay, guys, here's our strategy. This is what we want to do. And then they just go race.
Formula One did a version of that a few years ago, where instructions were prohibited to be given to the driver. So when the driver's like, I'm having this issue, the team couldn't say, okay, go to menu 7, activate line 3, blah, 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 blah. And it made things really, really difficult, and it overwhelmed most of the drivers that didn't know every single function on that steering wheel. It didn't make anything better, but later on this summer, the guy you need to talk to about this is DJ Kennington. DJ said for years he wants to get rid of spotters, and he wants to get rid of radio communication altogether and just let the drivers handle it on track. I don't think I agree with DJ, because it's really, really, really hard to see, especially out of a stock car. But he's a 3-time champion. He's done it, for 30 years. So he might know what he's talking about.
He might know what he's talking about for sure. So, should be good. Should be a lot of fun. We look forward to it. And the IndyCar, it's too bad. Like, I look at IndyCar, this is the time they should have went back to back. I've always said this all the time. Like,
they're doing better this year.
Yeah, they are.
Because
there's no 6-week break.
No, not this year.
Yeah.
The race at Thermal is an official race. So it's like 2 weeks until Thermal, and then it's only a couple of weeks till Long Beach, and then there's no significant big gap on IndyCar schedule this year.
It is much better. I will give him credit for that. Much better, for sure. Yeah. Colin, have a great weekend, man. We will chat with you next week.
Loving the Thirsty Thursday.
Oh, hey, that's back. Yeah. It'll be good. That's Colin Livingston joining us from Cantork. Let's get to the Con Man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Fountain Tire. Stop in right now. 20% off all in-stock tires. The best brands, best quality, best service. FountainTire.com.
1440 update.
It is game day. The Edmonton Oilers in action tonight, hosting a Montreal Canadiens. That one gets going at 7 o'clock. Pre-game coverage with Andrew Walker and Donovan Paulson gets going at 6, right here on Sports 1440. Elsewhere, you got the Jets taking on the Flyers, Panthers, and Jackets. Sabres head to Tampa. Red Wings hosting the Hockey Club. Bruins in Carolina. Preds taking on the Kraken, Flames, and Stars. And the Sharks traveling to Denver for a meeting with the Avalanche. Off the ice today, some movement. Toronto Maple Leafs placing forward Ryan Reeves on waivers. The Rangers trading forward Riley Smith back to the Vegas Golden Knights in exchange for forward Brendan Britson and a 2025 third-round pick. Rangers also retain 50% of Smith's salary cap. The Florida Panthers have acquired Nico Sturm and a 2027 seventh-round selection from San Jose in exchange for Florida's 2026 fourth-round selection. And the St. Louis Blues announcing that defenseman Colton Parayko will undergo a scope on his left knee. He'll be reevaluated in 6 weeks. In the PWHL tonight, Montreal takes on Toronto. That gets going just after 5 o'clock. And in the association, you got the Bulls, Magic, Hawks, Pacers, the 76ers in Boston, Nets host the Warriors, Rockets take on the Pelicans, and the Lakers meet the New York Knicks. Coming out in hour 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll ask 5 questions and be joined by Tony Marinaro out in Montreal to discuss the Canadiens. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, the Stingray radio station. CK.
Introducing the new McSpicy from McDonald's. It looks like a regular chicken sandwich, but it's actually a spicy chicken
22
sandwich.
hours from the NHL Show presented by Play Alberta.
Consider yourself warned. Limited time only. Participate in McDonald's in Canada.
When the snow hits, again, it's all hands on deck. Thankfully, you have Echo in the Lawnmower Hospital in your corner. Echo's backpack blowers, like the powerful Echo PB9010, can help remove snow from walkways, driveway sand, and more. And the Lawnmower Hospital has pet-safe, plant-safe ice melt to help ensure the job's done. Ice and snow don't stand a chance. LawnmowerHosp.com.
The Lawnmower Hospital. From the casinos of Vegas to the bingo halls of Leduc, everybody wants a piece of Lady Luck. And what thanks do I get? It's like I don't even exist.
There's no such thing as luck. If you gamble, use your game sense. Visit GameSenseAB.ca.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is the #1 heating and cooling company for people who want heating and cooling, because you'll save a bundle by bundling. Then you can use hot, cold, hot, cold. Come on, thermostat, do what you're told. Turn up the heat, turn up the cold, till the vents start pushing out tornadoes. Bundle my furnace with some AC. Gonna get a new from Legacy! Oh, yeah. Save a bundle when you bundle your new furnace and AC from Legacy today. Plus no payments and no interest for 1 year. That's how you build your legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Mission New Allen Auction's public unreserved equipment auction is next Friday at 9 a.m. featuring backhoes, crawler dozer, excavators, mini excavators, platform lifts, skid steers, snorkel lifts, street sweepers, turf mowers, wheel loaders, utility vehicles, plus commercial trailers. Info at maauctions.com.
Riverside Marine and Motorsports are back for the 2025 Edmonton Boat and Sportsman Show, March 21st and 23rd. Discover new 2025 models and exclusive offers like Yamaha finance rates and big rebates. Riverside Marine and Motorsports. What you do for fun is our business.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Action Electrical. They're the most diversified electrical contractor in Alberta with 4 divisions in project, service, tag, and solar for commercial or residential. Contact them today at actionelectrical.net.
Hat tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Just after 4 o'clock. Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Sports 1440. Oh, the rumor mill is heating up. Welcome back. It's the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website where 100% of the revenue stays right here in the province at PlayAlberta.ca. So we are officially now under 21 hours to the trade deadline. Of course, we'll have wall-to-wall coverage here tomorrow on the station. We'll be on at 7, but our real kind of serious trade deadline gets going at 9 a.m. I'll have Carius and Dingman, and then we got Low Tide, Sean Brown, Connor, myself. It's going to be fantastic right through until the 1 o'clock deadline, which, of course, as we've known in previous years, trades still trickling up until 2 o'clock, depending on how many are in the queue and everything like that. So the Oilers and a lot of other teams, I think, are still making calls. The LA Kings, I know the Mikko Rantanen situation. Don't sleep on the Kings. The Kings would make a huge push for him if indeed Carolina wants to trade him. Vegas, Toronto, right? The Oilers. There's lots of teams. And why wouldn't you be interested? Now, I think Edmonton needs a right defenseman first. Now, if you could get a right defenseman and Rantanen, are you joking? Like, could you imagine? That would be pretty good. We got a lot of texts coming in, 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440 in our inbox, just asking about it. Guys, honestly, do you think the Oilers will make any more moves? I fully believe they will. I think they're going to make 2 more trades. I've said that from the get-go. In my conversations, I felt like there was going to be 3. Now, I know they got 2 players in one deal. To me, that Frederick's the regular. I'm not sure how much ice time when everybody's healthy, right? That will happen. But you never know, right? Like Max Jones, who knows? If he has a good impact, things can change. But he's a big body that skates. It's what they need. Like, he brings an element they don't have. And it's not like their bottom 6 guys are lighting it up, offensively right now. So I could see. Hey, Gregor, would you do Noah Dobson for Edmonton's first, Klingberg and Skinner, assuming there's a 3-way deal in place? DC, well, in a heartbeat, I would. But why would the Islanders do that? Jeff Skinner, Klingberg in a first. Come on, my man. DC, let's be realistic here. Noah Dobson's a 70-point defenseman. You're not getting with 2 guys who aren't playing very well or older on expiring deals in just a first. It's not happening. There's 0 chance the Islanders do. The Oilers, that trade, if that's all it took, that trade would have been done. No way. So we'll see. Hey guys, would Ryan Reeves add any value to the Oilers? No, I do not. I don't think so. Not at this stage. Not what the Oilers need at all. Hey guys, a solid defensive players might just help everyone's confidence. Look what Landon Ekholm did. It was such a huge game changer. Are there other guys there? Well, you look at some of the defensemen out there, and we go through the list. There's Alexiak. There's Connor Murphy. There's Brandon Carlo, potentially. Carson Soucy, Rasmus Ristolainen. Now, are any of those guys as good as Ekholm was at the time of his acquisition? Probably not. But I like Brandon Carlo a lot. And he's look at it. If you actually look at Brandon Carlo and you look at his cap and everything else, pretty close. But, and if you bring him in, he doesn't have to play in your top pair. Right? He plays in your second pair, but your second pair is pretty good then. So, you have him and Nurse. You have Alexiak and Nurse. That's the thing. Whoever you bring in is playing with Nurse. It's going to be a pretty good pairing, is it not? So, yeah, I quite like it. So, it would be fantastic to see how it goes. Fantastic. 833-401-1440. Let's get to the oil report brought to you by Volvo Cars Edmonton. They, of course, 13-time Excellence Award winner in sales and service. And right now, they got some fantastic deals if you're looking for a vehicle, because it's the March showroom event. You can get lease or finance a 2025 XC60 plug-in hybrid from only 1.99% and save $3,500. That's VolvoCarsEdmonton.com. And we'll hear from, first of all, let's hear from one of the new members of the Edmonton Oilers, Trent Frederick. Now, he's not ready to play yet. He is itching to get back, but he just talked about kind of finding out he was coming to Edmonton. What were his thoughts?
Yeah, so I found out through Boston. Wasn't actually a phone call, but I got to meet with Sweens. He let me know, and obviously a lot of different mixed emotions. Kind of feeling it was good to see the writing on the wall. So a little mixed emotions about leaving Boston. I was really excited that it was Edmonton. And, no, you're good. It was Edmonton, and that I think this team and this group has a good chance of making a run at it.
Well, yeah. What he was asked, what excites him most about the Oilers?
I would say just coming here, playing here, the atmosphere, and I feel like this is a hockey culture, and all the guys have been great and reaching out. So it seems like a really good group just for the little time I've had, and obviously playing with the superstars. And I think that will be very cool.
And of course, the question that all Oilers fans want to know: how close is he to returning to play?
I don't really know exactly. I'm just kind of taking it day by day, and each day I think it's sooner and sooner. So I think that's a good thing, but we'll just have to see.
He wasn't the only guy who got acquired. Of course, Max Jones. Now, Max Jones will play tonight. Also, Cam Dineen, Oilers fans are going to see him for the first time. He does have 34 NHL games with Arizona back in 2022. He will play tonight because both Ekholm and Klingberg are out. And Max Jones just, he's asked about the familiarity with the Oilers, of course, from his time in Anaheim.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be weird sitting on the other bench now. Super great rink, though. I mean, I've always had a great time playing here. I'm in the hotel, which is, same, so pretty familiar. Really looking forward to it. This facility here is unbelievable. Again, I think it's testament to the city and the fans and the culture here. So I'm just honored to really be a part of it and learn from these guys and do what I can to help out.
And what does he have to do to stick around? Because that's obviously the key. It's great to get traded to the Oilers, but he wants to be part of it. He doesn't want to be in the minors or be in the press box. What does he feel he has to do to make sure he can stay in the line?
Yeah, I mean, the physicality part and working hard part, that's something you can control, or I can control, so it's pretty easy just to do that. Finishing hits, going through bodies. Structurally, it's pretty similar to what we were doing. So from there, it's kind of just going out playing hockey. And, I've been playing some pretty good hockey lately, and just going to translate it and play the way that I've always played. And years I played in Anaheim and, Boston, whatnot. So just going to come in, step in and do what I know in the role that I have and just take it from there.
What about the head coach on defense tonight? No Ekholm, no Klingberg, and just, maybe the importance of telling Ekholm, hey, you know what? He's been kind of battling this. He thought he was better, and then it's come back. So just kind of allow him some time to stay away. He didn't even come to the rink today. So Noblock talks about Ekholm.
Yeah, we feel it's best that Eki takes some time off, and whether that's 1 or 2 games, but definitely tonight. Eki's not playing. Klingberg's not available tonight too. He's has a minor injury that he'll be back very soon. So right now, we called up Cam as emergency, and he will be playing tonight.
Cam Dineen gets in. He'll be excited. And sometimes that type of excitement is probably not going to hurt the Oilers at this stage, for sure. The Canadiens are coming in, man. They've won 5 in a row. Nick Suzuki has 13 points in 5 games. The Oilers have scored 12 goals in their last 5 games. So, hey, the Habs, they're feeling it right now. They got to respect them. And Edmonton, who's obviously not playing great, this is definitely not a team you take lightly.
Well, one is, I think their first line is one of the better ones in the league. I think a lot of respect for those 3, that they're playing really well, and not only well offensively, but really good defensively. But also the lines 2 through 4 contributing, everyone just chipping in. And I don't think, Laine obviously is a very gifted offensive player, especially on the power play. But throughout the lineup there, I think there's just a lot of guys getting contributions. And, it's important for our 4 lines being able to match that level of play.
What about Jeff Skinner? How's he handling this situation? Obviously, you know what? He's healthy scratch again. He's been a healthy scratch. I think, actions speak louder than words. The writing's on the wall here. It's not going to be a fit. But how do you approach that as a coach?
Yeah, it's difficult for any player and coach dealing with this. There's a player that's had a outstanding career, and coming in here to Edmonton to feel like he was going to be big part of it and have a significant role, and it hasn't fit for for him or the team right now. But, I think there's some things that we would like him to work on, get better at, and being able to find that fit. And whether that's down the road, there's going to be injuries or guys not playing as we expect them, or whatever the situation is, that there'll be an opportunity to be back in the lineup, that he's got to be ready for that.
Well, we'll see. I should ask you, listeners, what do you think the chances are that he gets moved? Cons, where'd he come out? Is Skinner an Oiler by this time tomorrow?
I don't think so. I mean, I don't know him, obviously, so I don't know if he's content to just be in and out of the lineup and then, make the playoffs but not be a key contributor. I feel like as a competitor, as a hockey player, he wants to get back out there on the ice and contribute, and I just don't think that's going to happen in Edmonton. I mean, it's been well documented. Trent Frederick's here. Vander Kane's going to come back. There's just 2 more guys to push him out of the lineup. So for me, I think to go to a team that's maybe on the cusp of the playoffs or a wild card team where you can contribute just a little bit more, if I was a player, I think that might be where I want to go. I don't want to be watching the playoffs from the press box. So I lean towards the side of I think he'll be traded.
Well, I just think it makes most sense for both sides, is it not? So,
Yeah.
He's not in the lineup tonight. Max Jones, who they just acquired, is ahead. Frederick's not playing yet. So there's another left winger that jumps ahead of you. Now, Kane, I've said all along I didn't think Kane was going to play till the playoffs. But even if you're thinking, hey, I can play in the playoffs, well, you're not in the lineup tonight. Then Trent Frederick's here. And then in the playoffs, Kane's here. Well, there's 2 guys that I think would for sure be ahead of you. So, it's unfortunate. It just, sometimes it doesn't work out. You know what? It's not you. It's me. Whatever excuse you want to, you know how it is, right? Hey, maybe you got dumped by somebody and hey, whatever, it hurt. But, you found someone later and like, wow, I'm way happier. It's no different. Some players just, they don't fit in the team at that point for whatever reason. It just doesn't happen. Let's take a quick break. When we return, how about the Habs? They're close in the playoff race. But are they really close? How good are they? Nick Suzuki's on fire. We'll get to that and more. Tony Marinaro will join us next on The Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Attention drivers, it's the midwinter tire clearance sale at Fountain Tire. Right now, you can save up to 20% off all in-stock winter tires. That's right, premium brands, unbeatable safety, and incredible savings. But don't wait, this sale ends March 8th. And once they're gone, they're gone. Contact your local Fountain Tire for complete details.
People are always curious about what GS Construction does. They know it's something to do with construction because it's in our name. But our work at GS Construction isn't just about the projects we do. It's about people. This season, you'll see GS Construction improving underground infrastructure in the places we call home. So we're looking for crew members to work with motivated and friendly team members. Sound like you? If you want to join a team that cares about the community, your community, visit gsconstruction.ca and apply today.
Noodle noodle nood noodle nood noodle nood noodle noodle nood noodle noodle nood noodle nood noodle nood noodle noodle nood noodle 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 nood noodle nood noodle nood noodle noodle nood. Noodle noodle nood noodle nood noodle nood noodle noodle nood.
Troll low down to Oodle Noodle tonight because dine-in is open. Excavators, loaders, lifts, compaction equipment, and more. Find the XCMG construction equipment you need. Available for rental or sale at Japa Machinery Group. Japa, helping build Alberta from the ground up for 50 years. Visit japamachinery.com.
It's the season for love, and you're about to fall hard for the vehicle of your dreams. Presenting the outstanding 2025 XC90 from Volvo Cars Edmonton. Right now, you can lease your 2025 XC90 plug-in hybrid from 1.49% and save $4,600. Or finance a 2025 XC60 from 1.49% and save $1,500. All while being deeply infatuated by the newly upgraded, highly attractive body and wheel design. Volvo Cars Edmonton. VolvoCarsEdmonton.com. 1205 101 Street Southwest.
Don't settle for being on the rate of last resort if you don't have to be. Check your most recent electricity bill. If it says the words rate of last resort on it, then there are likely better options available for you. In fact, you could save hundreds of dollars per year by switching plans. Check your bill, then go to ucahelps.ca to explore your options. You will likely find a better rate and could have hundreds more in your pocket by the end of the year. A message from the Government of Alberta.
What is with the weather lately? Is it winter? Is it an early spring? It's like Mother Nature's a hockey referee that can't quite figure out what an offside or a penalty is. Napa Auto Parts has everything you need to make the right call for your vehicle. Whether it's antifreeze, washer fluid, wiper blades, or that mysterious part you swear you just replaced, Napa has you covered. Because your vehicle deserves consistency. With over 85 locations in Alberta, stop into your local Napa store or napacanada.com for all your trusted parts, tools, equipment, and automotive needs. That's Napa know-how.
Getting your vehicle sparkling clean doesn't have to cost a fortune. Take it into Hughes today and pay just loonies a wash.
Find us at hughescarwash.com.
Farm, ranch, acreage, or lake lot. They're here to help at Batshaw Concrete Products. Family owned and operated for 60 years. They continue to provide the best products and service, period. Call now for your free quote on the highest quality ready mix and gravel, a new septic tank, or an outhouse pad and tank, plus precast cattle water pads, garage sumps, and more. Call 780-372-3854 for prompt delivery. Batshaw Concrete Products, 780-372-3854. BashawConcrete.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by On the Rocks. Watch every Oilers game at OTR with $5.25 Molson Canadian, $5 Pink Whitney shots, and 60-cent wings. Plus, play Oilers score and win for your chance to win On the Rocks gift cards. Oilers hockey at OTR. Book your table today. Jasper Ave in 118th.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
The moon. Welcome back, boys and girls. Happy Thursday. Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Get in the game if you like a one-stop shop for everything. Because you use your promo code Gregor50, get a free $50 play. You got casinos, you got lottery, and more. And my favorite every Thursday, the Daily Grand. $1,000 a day for 20 or $7.2 million is what you can win. Get your tickets, PlayAlberta.ca. We're going to go to Montreal with Tony in a second. But lots of text line in 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Hey, guys, any concerns on Ekholm? Feels like he's been fighting an illness for about 2 months. Well, I think he only got it 4 Nations. So, you know what? I don't think the rest is going to be, obviously you'll miss him, no question. Right? But guess what? You're just going to, like Brett Kulak, I think we saw it like earlier on like Brett Kulak was unreal in Carolina. When you need him to play more, Brett Kulak can do it. I think he's a guy that for, 5-6 games, whatever it is, give Ekholm the rest he needs. I can play Brett Kulak in my top 4, and I do not feel very concerned at all, to be honest. Now, is there a drop off from Kulak to Dineen? Yeah, but we'll see, right? Like Cam Dineen's going to come in fired up. He hasn't played in the NHL since 2022. I'll be curious how Paul Coffey allocates the minutes tonight. And what he does, I'm guessing he might protect that pairing a little bit, but so we'll see. But, it's good teams are able to overcome one injury. And if Ekholm's only out for a few games, just let him, get completely over it, stop being run down, let his body fight it off. You have to do it. And you have to be confident that your team can find a way to win, even without him. Let's go in the room, brought to you by Action Electrical, where you can take action on your savings. One of Alberta's most diversified electrical contractors at 4 divisions and TAG, electrical and service, as well as commercial and residential solar. They'll help you save all the money. ActionElectrical.net. As From the Sick podcast, Tony Marinaro, good friend of the show, joins us once again. Tony, my man, welcome back. How you doing?
Thank you. Doing really well. I like Brett Kulak when he was with the Canadiens.
Oh, buddy, such a reliable player. Like, very reliable player. Yeah, that was, you know what? Hey, that's a trade that's worked out for both teams. The Oilers got Kulak. He's been great in the playoffs. The Habs got a draft pick, and you know what? They made it count. They got that young Hudson kid who's come in and had played very well. And Tony, the Montreal Canadiens have won 5 in a row. They're suddenly like legit within striking distance of the playoffs. What do you think they're going to do here in the next 21 hours? Are they going to make a small addition? Or would they potentially move out a guy like Armia? What's happening?
Look, if you would have asked me this question, Jason, a year ago, I would have told you that Yoel Armia's contract is up at the end of the year. Christian Dvorak's contract is up at the end of the year. David Savard's contract is up at the end of the year. And a year ago, I would have told you Jake Evans' contract is up at the end of the year. But I would have told you there would have been a good chance that they would have re-signed Jake Evans a year ago. Today, I'm going to tell you that I'm not so sure they trade any of these guys that I always thought last year and even in the offseason that they were going to trade by March 7th. Because once again, the Canadiens are a couple of points out of the second wildcard spot. They're 3 points out of the first wildcard spot. It's going to be difficult to make the playoffs because, once again, they're without a second-line centerman between now and the rest of the season. They're without Caden Gooley, who's a number 2/number 3 defenseman, probably between now and the rest of the season. We'll find out how long that injury is going to be. We don't know yet. So I would tell you that the odds are against them. They also have several teams in front of them. It's not going to be easy. But this team has really surprised a lot of people. They've come together. You know, the first month of the season was terrible. Jason, it was terrible. They got blown out like 5 times, and they just keep on getting better and better and better. So to answer your question, if I were a betting man, I don't think they're going to get worse between now and tomorrow at 3 o'clock Eastern. I think either they're going to dish a player out and bring a player in, or they're just going to add and try and make this team a little bit better. Now, what we're hearing is, in an ideal world, Kent Hughes would like to make a deal where he can get a player who still has his best years ahead of him and under contract for several more years, and that he's more interested in that than he is interested in a rental. Having said that, I think history has shown us that on trade deadline day, you get more rentals than you do players on long-term deals. Players on longer-term deals usually are acquired in the offseason or at the draft. So, look, I don't think they're going to be much of a seller. If anything, I think they'll be more of a buyer, and we'll see what happens tomorrow.
Looking at, Nick Suzuki, he's got like McDavid and Draisaitl numbers here coming out of the Four Nations break. 13 points in 5 games. You know, they got him, Caufield, and Slafkovsky, all young guys playing on a line. What has been the biggest improvement in Suzuki's game for you this season?
Well, the one thing that's really helped was the rest during the break. So now think about it. The best of the best, or most of the best, or what was supposed to be the best of the best, were playing for those 10 days to 2 weeks at the Four Nations. The Canadiens were lucky in a sense that Montembeault was there, but he never played, so he was rested. Suzuki was getting rest. Caufield was getting rest. Matheson was getting rest. Lane Hudson was getting rest. They were all getting rest. So, number one, the rest really helped. Number two, he took it personally, Jason, that he wasn't on that team. He took it personally, and we're hearing that maybe it was held against him, the fact that he didn't want to go represent Canada last year at the World Championships, and I don't know what he did in the summer anyway. He didn't want to go. He didn't want to go. He's made it a mission to be back on the radar and be part of that Canadian Olympic team next year. Now, what changes has he made to his game? I don't know if he's made any changes. He's always been a very good 200-foot player. He's always been a sound player. He's always been a great playmaker. I think the fact that the Canadiens' power play is really coming along. They have a lot of weapons. He's got the right coach for him as well. They play an offensive brand of hockey. The offensive players on this team, they play well. Cole Caufield is playing his best hockey of his career as well. He's well surrounded. He's well insulated. He's well rested. Unfortunately, he's not well insulated to the point where they don't have a second line center yet. And that's something they're going to have to address, Jason, because or else everyone's going to lean on Suzuki and eventually he'll wear down. So I think it's just a young player getting better every day and still his best years are ahead of him. Jason, he's on pace for 90 points. And take a look at the trajectory. A year ago he had 77 points. This year he's on pace for 90. The year before, I think he was in the 70s as well. Take a look at what he did in junior hockey. He got better every year. He's just a player who keeps on getting better and better.
Yeah, he's improved. How about what's Cole Caufield? Obviously, is a goal scorer. He's got 30 goals this year. Tony, how's his overall game? Amazing,
Jason. Yeah. Jason, I'll stop you right away. Amazing. He was labeled as a one-dimensional player when he broke into the league. He was labeled as a one-dimensional player when he was with the U.S. national development team. He was labeled as a one-dimensional player before he joined the Montreal Canadiens. And a lot of people said, if this guy can't score, he doesn't bring much else to the table. Marty St. Louis took this player. He put him under his wing. I can tell you that I've seen Marty show Cole a few things on the ice. Cole do this, Cole do that, Cole do this. Marty last year told us we're trying to make him a more complete hockey player. He sacrificed some goals. He finished with 28 goals or something like that. And the year before, he was on pace to score a lot more. And a lot of people said 28 goals. That's not a great. How many players score 28 goals in the National Hockey League?
Yeah.
His overall game, Jason, is amazing. I'm not gonna tell you right now that Cole Caufield's untouchable, because untouchable is a big word. But where are you going to get a player who's 24 years old, that has already scored 30 goals, that scored 28 last year, that is probably going to be on pace to score 30-plus goals for the remainder of his contract for another 6 years at $7.85 million a season? That contract in a couple of years' time will look like a huge, huge bargain. His overall game is fantastic.
Yeah, well, I look at him and, the one guy that I've always liked, and I see Slafkovsky, big, especially in Montreal, they got some smaller guys. I don't care what anyone says. Size does matter. You can't have all small guys. You can't have all big guys if they can't skate. But Slafkovsky obviously brings a lot of size to that line. And he's still really young, Tony. He's, I would argue he's pretty raw. You watch a lot of the games, but the growth in his game, is he growing into his body? Is there still kind of more ability for him to be able to move that big frame around?
So I'm going to be careful with what I say here, because you're right. He's been in the National Hockey League for 3 years, but he broke into the National Hockey League at age 18. He's the only player from that draft year to break in at age 18, because Logan Cooley played another year of college hockey. Shane Wright went down to the OHL. A couple of defensemen ended up in the American Hockey League from that draft year. Lane Hudson was still playing with Boston University. So he broke into the NHL at 18. Now, whether or not that was the right move, we'll never know, because obviously, we don't know what his career would have been if they would have kept him where he was, or they would have played him with the Laval Rocket for a year or two or whatever.
Yeah.
He's a slow starter. Last year, his second half of the season was amazing. His first half of the season was oh my God, he's getting tagged. His head is down. He's getting hit, this, that. He's got problems. He doesn't have a stick on the ice at all times. Sometimes he looks a little bit awkward. Sometimes he looks a little bit sluggish. Sometimes the decision-making is questionable. The second half of the season was amazing. 2 players in the history of the Montreal Canadiens, 2, age 20 or less, had seasons of 20-plus goals, 30-plus assists, 50-plus points.
Who was the other one?
Guy Lafleur is one. Juraj Slafkovsky is the other, right?
Okay.
So you don't that's pretty good company right there. I don't think you don't do that. You don't do that by fluke, all right? Not to say that he's the next Lafleur. What I'll say to you is that when he wants, and he has really wanted, especially since the second half of the season last year, and since the return from the Four Nations face-off, Anthony Martineau is a colleague of mine. He works for TVA Sports. He went up to Juraj Slafkovsky a couple of weeks ago. He goes, Juraj, I got to ask you something. You watch Canada versus USA? He goes, yeah, of course I did. He goes, the first game, wasn't that something, the Kachuk brothers fighting and all that stuff? He goes, yeah. I go, that was awesome. He goes, Juraj, he goes, you're 6'3 and a half, 6'3 and a half, 225, 230, winger, you shoot left. I mean, don't you want to play like Brady Kachuk or whatever? And Juraj starts laughing, starts smiling, and he says, you know what? I just got out of a meeting with Adam Nicholas of our player development team. He was showing me videos of Brady Tkachuk and telling me, Uri, if you want to have success in the National Hockey League, you have to play like this guy. And he says, you know what? I like the way he plays, and I'm convinced that I can play that way. And I want to make it, you know what? I'm on a mission. Like, I want to do it. He goes out, they go into Ottawa. Brady Tkachuk wasn't playing, right? But he gets into a huge fight with Ridley Gregg. I think he had like 8 hits on the night or whatever. He had a ton of shots. He had scored a goal. He had an unbelievable game. And ever since that game, it's given him confidence. And he doesn't always produce like that. And he doesn't always have those hits, but he's going to the net. He's crashing the net. He's become a force to be reckoned with. And sometimes, you know, in a world where we love to compare players to other players. And by the way, he came out and said, by the way, he goes, I like the way Matthew Tkachuk plays too. I watch videos of him as well. If I think back in Montreal Canadiens history, sometimes Eric Cole had a season here where he had 33 or 35 goals.
Yeah.
He plays a little bit like that. John LeClair, that was on that Stanley Cup winning team in 1993. Listen, John LeClair went on to have a career of 400 plus goals, 900 plus points or whatever it is. And 3 seasons of 50 plus goals, a couple of seasons of 40 plus goals. He reminds me a little bit of John LeClair in 93. That was just when he wanted to. It's just he was a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, well, and sometimes it takes a while. That's the other thing. Like, people want to write off players all the time after a few. Oh, geez, this guy's not dominating 2 years after his draft year. I'm like, God, the guy probably shouldn't even be in the NHL. Let's not kid ourselves here. It's not a teenager league. Like, there's a few McDavids out there. I get it, but for the vast majority of players, it's not a teenager league.
Yeah, I think he's going to be a power forward. I just think that if you're looking for that mean streak, like, I don't think you become Brady Tkachuk. I think you're born Brady Tkachuk. I could be wrong. I don't know.
You're right.
And so I don't think Slafkovsky was born with what Brady Tkachuk was born with. But you know what? He's got a package. He's got tools, and he could have a really good career in the National. You don't get drafted first overall by fluke. I know in Edmonton they'll probably disagree because they drafted Yakupov at one point. But for the most part, look, there's a lot to work with there. There's a lot to work with.
Tony Marinaro joins us. Oilers taking on the Montreal Canadiens tonight. Samuel Montembeault, Tony, he didn't play at the Four Nations, but you talked to him about that experience and what he can gain from that.
Well, he could obviously gain a lot. I mean, he was part of a winning team. He was part of a championship team. He had a chance to see how the other goalies were preparing day in and day out. I think he could really take a lot of inspiration from Jordan Binnington. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, Binnington was questioned by pretty much like 90% of the hockey world. And then he comes out and he plays the way he did. He was in a locker room with big-time players, big-time winners. Montembeault's a good goalie. And at one point, he got a little bit complacent maybe because he wasn't being pushed, quite frankly, by Caden Primo. The Canadiens took the decision to send Primo down. He was struggling big time. They brought up Jakub Dobeš. Dobeš went on to have a record of 5-0-1 in the first 6 games he played with the Canadiens. Since then, I think he's got 1 win and 2 losses. It hasn't gone all that great in the last month. But when Dobeš came in, he pushed him. He made him hungry again. And Montembeault started to play. Also, you're only as good as the way the team plays in front of you. In the month of October, like I mentioned to you, they got blown out 5 times. They were an absolute mess. They were a disaster. He was not going to look great in that context. They're playing good hockey. They're fighting for each other. They have great special teams. Their power play is very good. Their penalty kill is excellent. They got Lane Hudson, who is doing things here that we haven't seen a defenseman do in a very, very long time. Nick Suzuki's playing like a man on a mission. Add that all up, Montembeault's playing much better hockey. He's got a great contract, 3 years, $3.15 million. I'm telling you, Kent Hughes signs contracts that are absolutely amazing for him and the Montreal Canadiens.
Tony, should be a heck of a game tonight. We'll see if the Canadiens can keep the Oilers down. They're in a funk, man.
Yeah.
After being,
I want to say this. I think it's an understatement, but so happy for Connor McDavid that he scored that game-winning goal for Canada. I mean, we all wanted Canada to win, but we also wanted to see Connor McDavid do really well in that tournament because, very unfortunately, you're always going to have 1 or 2 idiots that are going to say we never won anything. The guy's amazing. Appreciate. The guy's amazing. You don't win Stanley Cups by yourself, and
yes,
very hard to do that. So anyone who says, you know what, he's never won anything, the guy's amazing.
Tony, as always, my man, love talking to you. Have a good one. Enjoy the game.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
There's Tony Marinaro from the Sick Podcast in Montreal. He's been covering the Habs for a long time. Does a very good job. And hey, their top line is rolling right now. Suzuki, Caufield, and Slafkovsky. Like I said, Suzuki's last 5 games, he has 13 points. The Oilers have scored 12 goals in their last 5 games. So they got to get going. And they got to slow down Suzuki. We'll come back. We got 5 questions and more on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Play Alberta has hundreds of casino games right at your fingertip. Join thousands discovering why Fortune Coin is one of Alberta's most popular games. Fill your reels with golden coins, multiply your prizes up to 6 times, and turn good spins into legendary ones. Land the Fortune Coin symbol to win cash, trigger the jackpot, launch the free spins bonus, and watch as the dragon takes over your screen. New players get 100 free spins only on playalberta.ca. Claim your offer today.
This is going to make you hungry. Booster Juice just dropped new guacamole and black bean grilled fresh options.
What the guac?
Yeah, a guacamole black bean wrap, guacamole chicken panini, and an egg and chipotle black bean wrap.
What a trio! Holy guacamole!
Bye-bye, boring as bread sandwiches.
Guac, yeah! New flavors, new cravings.
Avocado up to wraps and paninis from Booster Juice. Canadian-born, blending since 1999. Download the Booster Rewards app and order one today.
Actions speak louder than words. Japa Machinery Group puts your construction plan into action with XCMG construction machinery you need. Available for rental or sale. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
Are you tired of waking up tired? Are you tossing and turning all night and stiff and sore the next morning? If your sleep is suffering, it's time to visit the Brick Mattress Store. Their sleep experts will help you find the right support for restful night's sleep. Back sleeper, side sleeper, hot or cold, there is a perfect mattress for you. Plus, with next day delivery, your best night's sleep could be tomorrow. Check out the Brick Mattress Store locations in Spruce Grove, South Edmonton, St. Albert, Leduc, and start waking up refreshed.
Edmonton's biggest St. Paddy's Day party is at On the Rock.
Party at OTR March 14th to 17th as we celebrate St. Paddy's Day the way it needs to be celebrated.
The luck of the Irish, 96 hours of green beer.
5,760 minutes of mayhem, including live entertainment.
Irish dancers.
And all the festive Irish food you can handle.
Celebrate St. Patrick's Day at On the Rocks.
On the Rocks. Your Kiss Me, I'm Irish headquarters.
Only if you're into that sort of thing.
Jasper Ave 118.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
We've finished construction of our gamma radiation containment facility. Is it up to code? Is it going to be safe?
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Testing team reporting. We test your commercial operations using tools like infrared to ensure safe operation. Trust us to prevent potential calamity before it strikes.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork. We offer sale, rental, repair, and calibration of hydraulic, pneumatic, and battery-powered torque wrenches, stud tensioners, and flange maintenance equipment. Order today at cantork.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.444. How are you? Welcome back. Not just in, happened about 15 minutes ago, but Carson Soucy, he is now a member of the New York Rangers. The Canucks get a 3rd round draft pick in return. Man, the Rangers just they're kind of in the mix. They're trading guys out. They're bringing guys in. And you know what? We had some people saying, hey, Gregor, wouldn't Soucy have been involved in the Frederick deal? Maybe. But look, there's an example. The Rangers and the Canucks, they traded for Miller, right, recently. And Soucy wasn't part of the deal then. But, GMs are talking, and they found a way to get it together. So, maybe they wanted Soucy part of that the original time. They couldn't agree to it. Went with the other deal. And then you circle back. So, while Carlo wasn't involved in the Frederick deal, if indeed the Bruins are open for business on him, I think the Oilers would be looking at him, right? Alexiak, Soucy, I look at other defensemen. We met Ristolainen potentially got some term. Connor Murphy, although Chicago can't retain any salary. But, depending the orders on Kane, I've said it all along. I believe Kane's not going to play until the playoffs. I've been saying that for a long time, so I'm not going to go off of that. And so you got some room to maneuver there with LTR. Now it depends on costs and everything else, but Brandon Carlo at $4.1 million. Ooh, he is intriguing. If the orders could get him, intriguing. Let's get to 5 questions brought to you by The Brick and their mattress store. Struggling with a good night's sleep? You wake up and you're almost more tired than you were when you went to bed? Well, go see the experts at The Brick Mattress Store, and they can get the mattress that helps you sleep better.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, Jason, question number 1. Who's winning tonight? And what do you think Stuart Skinner's save percentage will be in this one?
Oh, man. That's fun. God, the Oilers have only won 1 of the last 7. Like, at some point, right? Like, Connor McDavid, he's not going 12 games out of 0.5 on 5, is he? I know he's had some points in the power play and stuff, but I'm just talking 5 on 5. So I think Edmonton finds a way to, I sometimes, you know what? Ekholm's not in the lineup. There's other guys like, we got to be better here. We got to wake up. You got Dineen comes in with some excitement. Jones comes in with some excitement. So I'll say the Oilers win 4-3. And so Montreal doesn't get to 30 shots. So the Oilers win, but because they don't get to 30 shots, Skinner's under 900, and people are going to freak
out. He hasn't had a above 900 save percentage since Feb 4th, a win against the Blues. I'm going to say the Oilers do win in this one, and his save percentage will be .901. The key to success at 900 save percentage.
Okay.
Question number 2 for you. Max Jones draws into the lineup along with Cam Dineen. What are the fair expectations? And I guess what would be a positive result in your opinion for them?
Positive result, man. You know what? If like the bar's pretty low right now for 4th line guys. So if Jones is not a minus player and he's physical and he can bring some energy, then it's a win.
Yeah, I want to notice 46. That's a win. And I don't want to notice 85. And that'd be a win for Cam Dineen. If he's not making this,
is he wearing 85?
85, yeah.
Okay.
And for those who don't know, Frederick's going to wear 21, according to the website. So
yes.
21, 46, and 85, the new numbers. Yeah, if I don't notice 85 making any mistakes, that's a win. And if 46 is out there flying around, that's a win for me. The bar is low. Question number 3. Of the moves that have been made so far, which have you liked the most for the team involved?
Well, I like the Frederick deal for Edmonton for sure. I've said that all along. I think he fills a need for them. Now, the negative is he's not going to play for a while, but I think when he's here, Oiler fans who are maybe a little on the fence are going to like the trade. Second of all, I really like the Bjorkstrand trade for Tampa Bay, and obviously the Seth Jones in Florida. I guess if I had to rank him, I'd say Seth Jones number 1 because he's going to play the most minutes.
Yeah, and that's actually where I was going to go as well. I think a guy like that on the back end, a little bit of money retained, really like that for Florida, making another push in the playoffs. Question number 4 for you. Yesterday, Max Crosby became the highest non-quarterback when it comes to salary. Raiders give him a 3-year extension, $106.5 million. When you think of pass rushers and the best of the best, who's atop your list?
Go ahead, buddy.
I got to go with the guys that I've actually seen. I always remember Jason Taylor for the Miami Dolphins being really good and looking like an athlete out there. Von Miller was really good as well. Myles Garrett. And one honorable mention, the most dominant defensive end I think I've ever seen in real life, Cam Wake, when he played for the BC Lions. He was so unstoppable. So that would be one for me.
The guys I remember, honestly, I thought Reggie White was an absolute machine. So I'm going with him. And James Quick Parker. When go back a little bit of time, God, he dominated on the D-line. So I'd go with those 2.
Honorable mention, Lawrence Taylor as well. Pretty dang good. Final question for you. On this day in 2010, Transformers Revenge of the Fallen won a Golden Raspberry as the worst film. It was also the highest grossing film to win that award, over $400 million. Huge fan base. In honor of that, what is the worst movie you have actually seen?
Oh, worst movie.
We give a lot of praise to movies.
Yeah. The worst movie I've seen, well, it was terrible. The reaction of my friends made it somewhat comedic. So I still remember I went with my buddy Jeff, our friend Nicole, and Greg. I think it was the four of us. And we went to see Dude, Where's My Car? It was so bad. And they were just, like, we probably should have walked out. But I was more laughing because they just kept complaining about how bad the movie was. God, it was funny. So
I think I liked that movie. I mean, I was young and a little dumb, more dumb than I am now. I think I did enjoy that one. There's a lot of bad ones that I've unfortunately gone out and seen. The Dukes of Hazzard was a tough one. The Deuce Bigelow ones were never good. But I'm going to say probably Paul Blart Mall Cop, the second one. I watched the first one, thought I'd give the second one a go, and Paul Blart, the first one wasn't good. I don't know why I watched the second one, but yeah, Paul Blart Mall Cop, the sequel, not good. I'm looking at a list of some of the worst ones. Did you know Paris Hilton was in a movie called The Hottie and the Naughty?
No, the Hottie and the Naughty. Oh my goodness, that is unbelievable.
Produced by Paris Hilton Entertainment.
Oh, shocking. So who is the Naughty? Or was she the Hottie or was she the Naughty?
Yeah, Paris was the Hottie. The Naughty was Christine Lakin.
Who? I don't know.
She was in Walking Dead.
Oh.
So she had an okay career.
Oh, there you go.
But yeah, the movie
Hottie
flopped
and
at
the
the box
Naughty
office.
it didn't go away. Shocking.
It made $1.6 million at the box office.
What was the premise?
Let's see. Nate Cooper is unable to get it together with women, but he also cannot forget his first love, the beautiful Cristobal Abbott, in their time from elementary. So he sets out for the beaches to meet up with his geeky best friend, whose mother has an unnatural amount of information about Cristobal and perhaps an unusual relationship with her son. It's a long one.
Sounds terrible.
Yeah, I don't think I mean, we should probably do a screening and invite all our listeners, of course. But
yeah, no. Yeah. Why don't you and Declan watch it and then get back to us?
We have an intern, actually.
Oh, yeah, Liam.
We get Liam on.
All right, get Liam to watch it. Hey, boys, Starship Troopers 2. No contest. The worst from Gary the Teamster. Guys, Shaun of the Dead was awful from Northside Lou. Sherlock Holmes, brutal. See, Shaun of the Dead, it depends on kind of what your sense of humor. I know some people thought that, like, I know you love that movie.
Yeah, that's a Halloween classic. You got to watch it. You take it for what it is. It's not, I don't know. What's the greatest movie of all time?
Well, that's debatable for sure. Guys, worst movie is Rami and Michelle's high school reunion from Blue. How'd you get sucked into watching that one, Blue? I want the backstory as to why you watched that movie. That's what I want to know. Guys, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, awful from JC. Hey, guys, Christmas Vacation 2. I made it 10 minutes in. Well, maybe you didn't give it enough time, Big Easy. Is 10 minutes enough time to know it's brutal? Maybe. Possible. But I respect that. If you want out, you're out. Have you ever walked out of a movie theater, Cons, like actually paid for your mind and then be like, I'm out. I can't do it.
No, never done it.
No, I don't think I have either.
I dragged people to Dumb and Dumber 2, like the prequel.
Oh,
Dumb and Dumber, and my friends held it against me for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
We stayed, finished the movie.
Yeah, I get it. Hey, guys, sudden death. The crowd cheered when it was over. But that was the hockey scene, right? Is that sudden death with Jean-Claude? I think it was it not? Or I'm thinking a different one. That's the sudden death. I
think you're right. Yeah.
With Jean-Claude, there's the Pittsburgh Penguins in it.
Penguins game, yeah.
Oh, I've seen some bad movies. I don't know if that one's the worst, but that one's a classic. Hey, guys, I watched Jonah Hex with Josh Brolin. Awful. Oof. Now, this is a good one because I watched it and I thought it was pretty bad too. Guys, I love Adam Sandler, but Little Nicky, horrific. Yes, I would agree with you, Jake. That was bad. Like how he talked, like his whole character was annoying. Like I remember we watched that on rental and I was like, I'm out. I left the room. It's easy to do at home because you're not, no finance. You don't have to get in my car. I'm just like, I'm out. Like I went upstairs and watched something else, but I was like that. It was annoying to me. Like the character wasn't good.
I don't even know if that's his worst movie though. Jack and Jill, where he plays both.
I haven't seen that.
He had some tough ones.
Oh yeah. Sharknado, boys. Oh yes, thank you. Iron, I'm agreeing with you. I can't. Didn't they make like 2 or 3 of them? And like people
tons.
watched it. I couldn't believe it. That was awful. Awful.
There is at least 6 Sharknadoes.
What?
The last one, the last
Good for
Sharknado.
them.
It's About Time. That's what it's called.
Tara Reid's in Sharknado, right?
Just the first one.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Even she couldn't go back. She's like, I can't do it. I can't do it again. It was,
Oh, I lied. She's in the second one.
she's in the second one too.
Sharknado 3. Oh, hell no. She's in that one as well.
God, there's a lot of ones we're getting text like Santa's Jaws. I've never heard of. The Velocipaster, the best horrible movie of all time. Well, just by the name, the Velocipaster. What is that? Like some weird thing? He's a preacher, and then he turns into some like alien. I don't know. Yeah. Hey guys, my dad walked out of Lord of the Rings at the end of the first movie when he thought still had to go to the other side of the mountain. Buddy, Lord of the Rings, the first one's amazing. But I didn't know, I'll be honest, I didn't know going in that it was a trilogy. So I do remember being like, what? So, but I thought it was awesome. I love Lord of the Rings, though. So I liked it a lot. Hey, guys, don't mess with Zohan, because that might be his worst one. Oh. Hey, guys, to be fair, Sharknado is meant to be bad. It's self-aware. And it says it's self-aware and meta. What does that mean? And meta. It's like Facebook? I don't even know what that means.
Referring to itself or to the conventions of its genre.
Oh, okay. So it's supposed to be terrible? Like you watch it knowing it's cringeworthy? Okay. Well, maybe there's some skill in that at the end of the day. Who knows? Hey, Gregor, worst movie I've watched lately is The Oilers. I was waiting. I knew one of you would do it. It's been tough sledding for the Oilers lately, but Oiler fans, you're going to watch tonight, aren't you? I know you are. Why not? Because the Edmonton Oilers, if you go read my GDB today, the Edmonton Oilers for 30 games were the best team in the NHL. And then I don't know what happened. They had a 2-0 lead against Detroit. They blew it, and they've never been the same since. They had the best record in the NHL for 30 games. Then the last 11, they're right near the bottom. It's like a crazy way up, crash back down. And they got to find their way back up because they're almost out of the race for first place in the Pacific. It's inching closer to that already. They got to get some wins here soon. So we'll talk about that with Spec and more. Get to Connor Halley, Sports 1440 Update. It is the Gregor Show, as always, presented by our title sponsor, PlayAlberta.ca. Let's get to the comment. Sports 1440 Update brought to you by your Alberta GMC dealers. And truck month is on now at GMC. You can get a $5,000 cash credit on a 2025 Sierra HD model. See more at gmccanada.ca.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Game day, the Edmonton Oilers in action, hosting the Montreal Canadiens down at Rogers Place. Puck drop just after 7 o'clock. We've got pregame coverage coming your way at 6 with Andrew Walker and Donovan Paulson. Elsewhere around the NHL, a few games just about to get going. Wings and the HC, the Sabres in Tampa. Panthers take on the Jackets. Jets in Philadelphia. Hurricanes hosting the Bruins. At 6, the Kraken meet the Preds, and the Stars taking on the Flames. And at 7:30, the Sharks meet the Avalanche. Trade deadline day getting closer. We've got some moves. The New York Rangers trading forward Riley Smith back to the Vegas Golden Knights in exchange for Brendan Brisson and a 2025 third-round pick. Rangers would also retain 50% of Smith's salary. New York would then send that third-round pick to Vancouver to acquire blue liner Carson Soucy. The Toronto Maple Leafs placed forward Ryan Reeves on waivers today, and the Florida Panthers acquiring Nico Sturm and a 2027 seventh-round selection from San Jose in exchange for Florida's 2026 fourth-round pick. In the association, you got the Bulls in Orlando. Hawks host the Pacers. Sixers taking on the Celtics. Nets and Warriors. Rockets meet the Pelicans. And the Lakers hosting the New York Knicks. One game in the PWHL just about to get going. Montreal taking on Toronto. Coming up in our 4th of Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet. I'm Connor Halley. It's been a Sports 1440 Update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Attention drivers, it's the midwinter tire clearance sale at Fountain Tire. Right now, you can save up to 20% off all in-stock winter tires. That's right, premium brands, unbeatable safety, and incredible savings. But don't wait, this sale ends March 8th. And once they're gone, they're gone. Contact your local Fountain Tire for complete details.
Introducing the new McSpicy from McDonald's. It looks like a regular chicken sandwich, but it's actually a spicy chicken sandwich. McSpicy. Consider yourself warned. Limited time only. Participate in McDonald's in Canada.
Truck Month is on now at GMC, and it's one of the best times to get behind the wheel. Right now, get a $5,000 cash purchase credit on 2025 Sierra HD models with a 13.4-inch diagonal center touchscreen, an available Duramax 6.6-liter turbo diesel V8 engine with 470 horsepower, plus the most trailering assistance technologies in its class. Sierra has some serious hauling power and is the only off-road ready HD. Truck Month is on now. Ask your GMC dealer for details.
New Edge Construction wants you. We are hiring for several positions. Join a leading civil construction group in the Edmonton region. A strong team, competitive wages, retention bonuses, and current model equipment are what awaits you at New Edge. Go to newedgeconstruction.com. That's NUEDGE construction.com.
Join a leading civil construction group in the Edmonton region. Start your career now. Go to newedgeconstruction.com.
Commissioner Allen Auctions Public Unreserved Heavy Truck Auction is next Thursday at 9 a.m. featuring tandem and single axle trucks including box and hoist, diggers, decks, day cabs, and highway tractors, man lifts, pickers, plows, refuse trucks, and van bodies. Info at maauctions.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Japa Machinery. Japa is digging deep on their 50-year history of supporting Alberta's construction industry with their line of special edition blackout excavators. Visit japamachinery.com for all the details.
Hat tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by playalberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Well, it's still a classic tune. How are you? Did you make your way home? Or maybe you're going to the game tonight? Some of you, maybe you're going to your kids' games. I know that, of course, minor hockey playoffs continuing on. So best of luck to all of those engaging. Have a lot of fun. Remember, try not to yell to referees, okay? Or your kids. Just enjoy it. Just cheer it on. Should be a lot of fun. That's, you know what? The more fun they have, the more chances that they are going to be back, which is great. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, The Gregor Show, presented by playalberta.ca, where you can get in the game. Playalberta.ca. Use the promo code Gregor50. It's Gregor50, and you'll get a free $50 play the whole month of March at playalberta.ca. As we get to the spec report now, brought to you by GS Construction. They specialize in underground infrastructure. They make your life more enjoyable with running water, indoor plumbing. They're the grinders of construction. That is GS Construction, as Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet joins us. And Spec, 20 hours and counting until the trade deadline. We've seen some moves. The Rangers, man, they're trading guys out to Riley Smith, then they're bringing in another guy in Carson Soucy on the blue line. You know, they've got some injuries on the blue line. They're wheeling, dealing. They're still in the mix. The orders, we did hear from their 2 new members of their team, although Trent Frederick is still a few weeks away from playing. But man, with the clock ticking down, to me, it's more imperative than ever that they got to get a right defenseman, ideally a second pair right defenseman.
What did Susie move for, Jay? I saw the trade, but I didn't see the return.
Third rounder.
So that's doable. They would like someone, probably a higher pedigree defenseman than Susie. They want a defender here. They need someone that can bring a little bit of defense to their defense core, right? That's what they're looking for. It sounds from all angles that you hear that defenseman to play on the second pairing with Darnell Nurse has become the priority for the Edmonton Oilers now. They made the Trent Frederick deal. Now I think the next trade we hear about will be that defenseman. I'm sure they'll find him. I'm most interested, to be honest, I'm kind of most interested in unwrapping this package on, how does Stan Bowman spend his money, and what does that tell us about Evander Kane?
No, I've said it all along. I believe Kane's not coming back until the playoffs. I'm not going off of that.
I've said it all along too, and I think we're both right.
Yeah, and so you know what, you have opportunities. Obviously, there's the Jeff Skinner situation. I don't know if it was you, whoever asked him about that today, Chris Noblock. Like he's just, they're bringing in other guys. It's the writing's on the wall here. I don't know if you spoke to Skinner at all or not, Spec. But what do you get the sense is like? Do you want to stay where you're not going to play?
Yeah, kind of. Do you want to stay where you're not wanted? You know what I mean? Like it's kind of sad that it comes down to that because it's not his fault, right? He's the player that he is. He's never skated that well. I blame Jeff Jackson and whoever helped him to decide that Skinner would be a fit here because he hasn't been a fit. He's never been great defensively. He's never been a great skater. He's a 30-goal guy. He scored lots of goals in his life, but the role didn't really exist for him here in Edmonton. And the jury's back on him. He's not going to play here. I mean, they've got 6 or 7 left wingers here, if you count Evander Kane. So he's a healthy scratch already, a couple nights in a row. Trent Frederick's coming in to take his job long-term at some point. I think if I'm Jeff Skinner, I don't want to hang around. It's going to be embarrassing if my team makes a playoff run and, there's an injured left winger and they're not calling me and I'm, into play and I'm still a black ace. If I'm Jeff Skinner, I guess I just want to lick my wounds and get the hell out of town. What about you?
Well, yeah, a no movement clause just allows you to have some say, but if a team doesn't want you, you're not going to play. Like, how much fun is that going to be? And then if you're Jeff Skinner and you end up staying in Edmonton, you don't play, what are you signing for, league minimum next year? Right?
Well, right.
Going to cost you something too. Like he wants to play, and I get that he wants to be in the playoffs. I totally understand that. So he'll have some say in where he goes, but we'll see. I still think he's going to get moved. It doesn't make sense financially anywhere else for him to stick here. And when I say financially, I mean long term financially on that one. So I think if you're not playing that, there's much out of sight, out of mind is kind of how it works, right, Spec? It's hard to get a contract of any significance if you're not playing. So it doesn't look like you're a healthy scratch for the last 2 months of a season.
Yeah, I think that it works like this. I think that Stan Bowman's probably got a couple of teams that are telling him, if you're Stan and I'm the other GM, I'm saying, Stan, if I don't do better at the deadline, I'll take Skinner off your hands. If I have the cap space, I'll take the cap space. Give me whatever you're giving me. We'll negotiate something, a sweetener. It's for future considerations, but if I can do better at the deadline, I'm not going to come back to you for Skinner. So I would think that Skinner is a deal that gets made very near the end by a team that struck out elsewhere and says, okay, you know what? We need a little scoring. We're in a wild card race out east. We got room on our left side for a guy that can score a little. We'll take him. That's how I see it coming down.
Yeah. No, that's totally fair. Looking at the orders tonight, Spec, are we going to see Nurse with Bouchard with Ekholm out?
Well, gee, that's a good question. How do you deploy your defenseman when you've, when you got a guy from your first pair out and a guy from your second pair out? Do you put those two together and play them 29 minutes? It's good question. I'm not sure what we'll see. I'm not sure that I don't want Nurse on one pair and Bouchard on the other. Maybe Kulak with Bouchard and Nurse with what? Emberson. And that leaves me Stetcher and the new kid.
Dineen,
thank you. On my third pair. I don't love that third pair. They're not going to get a lot of ice time, but I think that's how I would do it. I want Bouchard on one pair and Bouchard and Kulak together. And I want Nurse on my second pair. That's how I would do it. How would you do it?
Yeah, well, Kulak and Emberson have played together lots, right? Like those are your top four. I could see, Dineen and Stetcher, and you mix them in at different times, and like Dineen can really move the puck, right? And I think he'll be jacked up. Like there's other teams that have played third pairing guys that haven't played lots. Like I don't know if the Oilers, have to go out there and suddenly play Bouchard and Nurse 28 minutes. Like I don't think it's that, important. I think you look at it and you pick your certain times when you want to play them, and you have last change and stuff like that. Like if you give Dineen offensive zone starts, I don't mind that at all. He might be the second best offensive defenseman on your team. Just, I know he's not an NHL guy regularly, but just for pure offensive instincts in the offensive zone, it might be him. So I wouldn't mind seeing him get some offensive zone starts tonight.
Yeah, I'd love to see it. I think realistically what we're going to be talking about tomorrow is a team that used 5 defensemen quite a bit and didn't use the 6 very much. That's what I see tonight. But
that's true too.
Let's see what happens.
Yeah. What Max Jones? I know obviously he was super excited today. Trent Frederick, anything stand out from your conversations with him?
Yeah, they're both nice guys and they're great quotes. So I'm happy to have them both in town. Both guys like to have a laugh and they're good talkers and they're both very open today. So, anyway, they're both also 6'3", 215 or 220. Yeah. So, 2 big guys. I like that. The deal on Max Jones is the deal on Max Jones. He's big and he can hit you and he can play that game, but he's got to play it for more than 2 games in a row. His MO is he plays it for a little while and then it goes away. That's why he's been in the minors. So, I'm kind of hoping for his sake, these guys go one of 2 ways. Either they have the come to Jesus moment and they go, okay, I know what I have to do to stay in the NHL and I'm going to do it. Or I am unable to play consistently in the role asked of me, and we're not going to see Max Jones very much for very long. Frederick, I was a little concerned. What did you think, Jay? He didn't have any timeline or anything, and it seemed to me like Noblock didn't want to talk about it much. What do you think?
Well, it was, it was a little surprising there. He said it'd be out a while. So, like, if he's not like to me, you would like him to get in at least 10 to 12 games, right? Like comfort level, get up to speed. So like if we get to March 25th and he's not in the lineup, well then, like I said, like everything about the trade's good, except the fact he's not playing. And so the longer he doesn't play, well, you know what? I know that they brought him in for playoffs, but hey, I do believe that, continuity and getting used to guys and just, playing and getting up to game speed matters. So if all of a sudden he's not playing till April 8th, well, that, that's a real kick in the junk if it's that long.
It is. I didn't love the fact, like I was kind of hoping I'd come to the rink and hear, it's like 10 days, but we didn't hear that. We didn't hear any numbers at all. And that it's still very open-ended, I guess I'd say to you. And I don't love that. So let's see what happens. The injuries, they don't tell us anything about injuries anymore. So I don't pretend like I know, but you didn't get a sense that he's coming back anytime real quickly today. That's for sure.
No. The last one, Spec, when you look at it, we've talked a lot about defensemen. I've asked so many people, like everybody's, hey, got to get a goalie, got to get a goalie. I'm like, okay, well, who? Like, I don't see a lot of available goalies out there. I never thought Jamalko was available, and obviously he signed. Gibson got hurt again in Vancouver. We haven't seen haven't seen any notes on if that's serious or not. I don't think they were ever really there because of cap hit and stuff. So what about a 4th line center? Right shot.
Yeah, sure. If to me, there's a longer wish list than there is cap and assets to acquire all these guys. So to me, Bowman's after his defenseman, and then he's going to see what he's got left over, and he's going to say, okay, well, there's a winger for Draisaitl I like, but here's the 4th line center that's maybe a better the deal is better. I like the deal better. He's a better player, or it's less assets. So, at some point, the market tells you what you end up getting. You can't get everything you want, right? Hey, Peter Mrazek could be free. I know it's Peter Mrazek, but he's played behind an awful team for a long time in Chicago. He's a veteran goalie, and they'd give him to you for nothing. But what's his cap hit? It's like 4 something. So, I don't buy it. So I guess what I'm trying to say to you is I think we all know what they want. And yes, a fourth line center is one of them. The market's going to tell Stan Bowman tomorrow how much capital he has, how much cap space he has, what stuff costs. And I guess we're going to see what he ends up with.
Well, it's another name. We got some people. Jake Walman's name has been out there a little bit, maybe connected to the Oilers. Now he's a left shot, but here the thing is, and I said that before. Brett Kulak has played a lot of right side. So if you get Jake Walman, because that strengthens your left side, and then you're going to move Kulak over to the right side, you can still live with that, right? You can. Yeah, it's not. It's not ideal, but I'll say this: like Jake Walman in San Jose on a bat has been really good. I'm just like, I'd be curious on the return and what the Sharks were thinking as to why they would deal him. I guess it all depends on the return, right?
Especially a younger team that's trying to build something. To me, he always seems like he should be a keeper. If I'm San Jose, he should be a keeper. But I think we always have to reference here, Jay. One more thing, but I know you got to go. 2 years ago, was it 3 years ago? Matthias Ekholm, right?
Yeah.
There was all these names out there like there is every year, and Frank had his trade board, and you guys had a trade board, and my place had a trade board, and Matthias Ekholm's name wasn't on any of them. And Ken Holland came home with one of the best deadline deals in this city since Dwayne Rolison. So I feel like Stan Bowman's got a card up his sleeve here. I feel like there might be a name that comes out that's not on somebody's board.
Well, it's funny, actually, 'cause I went back and looked, and Frank did actually add him to his board about 3 weeks. I don't know the exact date, 3 weeks before the trade. So I actually had him on his board, but it was kind of a later addition for sure. But he definitely, I'll give him credit, he did have him on the board beforehand. And so, hey, you know what? Walman's like, there's always a few guys like that get dealt. Like Walman's making $3.4 million for this year and next year, right? Like that's and San Jose can't retain any salary. So any trade with them, you're getting them. But at $3.4 million, like he's played 23 minutes a night for the San Jose Sharks. Now they're not, they don't have the depth at all, but like that, he adds something that would make your defense score better. There's no question. Now he's not a righty. My understanding is he can play the right side as well. So, you got him and Kulak, so you can mix and match at different times and see who fits over there. But, it would add in for sure to do it. And then I wonder, does San Jose just take Klingberg from a cap perspective, right? Because, do you need Klingberg then? Like, I would have Emberson because of his penalty killing in the third pair ahead of Klingberg.
Yeah, certainly when you're a team like San Jose, you can take back somebody. Right, you can take back whoever, especially a guy on an expiring contract. You can take back any Klingberg or Jeff Skinner or whoever goes there. I know there's no move and all that, but so yes, that'll be part of the deal for Stan. He'll be dumping tomorrow. He'll be dumping some salary, I would think. And is Walman the defender? Do you think the Oilers need? Do you think he's got the defensive acumen to make this team better in their own zone? Forget about the other two zones.
Yeah. Well, now Dave Pagnotta is saying he believes that Walman has been informed that he's going to Edmonton. So just a matter of what the return could be. So
wow, there you go.
So
well, let's do our homework on Walman's. You watched him play a lot when Noah was in San Jose.
Oh no, he wasn't there. Remember
Detroit then?
No, he was in Detroit, and and when he went to Detroit's back, he kind of came out of nowhere, played great, and everyone was like, why did Detroit move him? Right? It was very odd. Right. So he's funny because it's an illustration of it's hard for even, like everybody, hey, the Red Wings, they don't know how to evaluate talent. Well, they didn't know how to evaluate. Like you look at their defense score, would they rather have Walman or Sherratt or Justin Holl right now? Yeah. So, hey, but just Oiler fans are like, hey, wait a sec. Would the Oilers rather have Holloway? 100%. So, you know what? Teams make wrong evaluations. Now, Walman's not a huge, big banger by any stretch of the imagination, but he moves the puck. He's a good skater, and he can defend. right? And all I'll say is when you play that many minutes against, top players in the NHL, like you've got some acumen, like and you're not getting caved in, right? You got some chops, and I think in Edmonton you come in and he's not going to play 23 minutes a night, right? So you're not, and that might be hard in a way for some guys. Like, hey man, I've been playing 20 minutes a night. I feel great. 23 actually minutes a night. So when he comes here, I don't think he'll be playing that many minutes, right? But even now, here's the thing. In San Jose, as I quickly go to Puck IQ, he's not a guy who I would say is like a top pairing guy. Plays more against like, your middle. So I think he's like a second, third pair guy in Edmonton.
Right. So
and that's what he should be, right? Like they're not bringing him in here to be a top pair guy. No chance.
No, you're bringing him in here to be a second pair guy. Well, they're bringing in a 4, Jay. They need a 4, right?
Yes.
On this team, the way they're structured, Nurse is 3. They need a 4. But they absolutely need, and unless we think that all of a sudden Kulak's a 4 and this guy's a 5, I don't know how they're going to run this thing.
Yeah,
but
I got like Kulak. Like if you play Kulak with Nurse, if that's what it ends up being, because the one thing Walman is spec, he's fairly heavy. Like he's not like weight does matter at times when you're a good skater. It's just hard to move guys. If you're 218 or 220 compared to a guy who's 200 pounds, right? And all things are even in skill. Well, you got an advantage.
How big is he? I'm on a radio show. I can't look this stuff up.
Yeah, no, he's he's like 220. Right now,
okay.
He's more stout. He's not a 6'3", 220. He's a 6'1", 220.
Okay, well, that's whatever. Like I won't tell you that I haven't pre-scouted this guy. I've seen him play, and I know he's highly regarded, and I know that Detroit missed him. But let's see where all this ends up. We don't know what the return is. Did they move Klingberg in this deal? We don't know that yet.
Yeah, well, maybe I would guess. Well, there's gonna if you're I bet you there's a first rounder. That would be my guess. Without having to look at anything else, there's got to be a high pick involved in this. Just looking at his cap hit, and San Jose can't retain. Well, they can't retain salary, so maybe you take some back. But that would be my guess, Spec. That would be like, why is San Jose trading him if you're not getting a good draft pick?
I would think so. Yeah, that's a good question. I wonder why 2 teams have traded this player. 2 young rebuilding teams have traded this guy. That's a red flag that I would like to get to the bottom of.
Well, Detroit, I think they missed the boat, right? Why'd the orders not match Holloway? Sometimes you make a mistake.
Yeah, but if St. Louis moves Holloway after a great season, then I'm going to think, what's wrong with Holloway? This guy's been moved twice from 2 rebuilding teams. I don't want to cast aspersions. I don't know anything. I'm just saying 2 young teams should want this guy, and I don't know why they're dealing him.
Yeah. Well, maybe you get it first. Who knows? But no, that's a valid question, right? Or you got a rookie GM. Sometimes they make mistakes.
Yeah, this is fair.
Spec, enjoy the game tonight. We'll see what happens. The Oilers get a D-man by the sounds of it. And up next, maybe a right shot center.
All right. See you at the rink, Jay.
There you go. That's Mark Spector, the Spec Report, brought to you by GS Construction. We got lots more to discuss on the Oilers, the trade. We might even go to San Jose here on the fly. Get a little bit of a report on Jake Walman on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Play Alberta has hundreds of casino games right at your fingertip. Join thousands discovering why Fortune Coin is one of Alberta's most popular games. Fill your reels with golden coins, multiply your prizes up to 6 times, and turn good spins into legendary ones. Land the Fortune Coin symbol to win cash, trigger the jackpot, launch the free spins bonus, and watch as the dragon takes over your screen. New players get 100 free spins only on playalberta.ca. Claim your offer today.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is the #1 furnace install company for sailors because they know the value of a warm port. And they sing, there was a ship who fought the cold, who sailed the sea with a furnace load. She brought the heat to IEG and her name was Legacy. Through icy wind and winter squall, her fire she burned for one and all with a comfort chugging guarantee, and her name was Legacy. No payments, no. Yep, no payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. Don't trust just any ports in a winter storm. Trust Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Introducing the new McSpicy from McDonald's. It looks like a regular chicken sandwich, but it's actually a spicy chicken sandwich. McSpicy. Consider yourself warned. Limited time only. Participate in McDonald's in Canada.
Are you tired of waking up tired? Are you tossing and turning all night and stiff and sore the next morning? If your sleep is suffering, it's time to visit the Brick Mattress Store. Their sleep experts will help you find the right support for a restful night's sleep. Back sleeper, side sleeper, hot or cold, there is a perfect mattress for you. Plus, with next day delivery, your best night's sleep could be tomorrow. Check out the Brick Mattress Store locations in Spruce Grove, South Edmonton, St. Albert, and Leduc, and start waking up refreshed.
It's the season for love, and you're about to fall hard for the vehicle of your dreams. Presenting the outstanding 2025 XC90 from Volvo Cars Edmonton. Right now, you can lease your 2025 XC90 plug-in hybrid from 1.49% and save $4,600. Or finance a 2025 XC60 from 1.49% and save $1,500. All while being deeply infatuated by the newly upgraded, highly attractive body and wheel design. Volvo Cars Edmonton. VolvoCarsEdmonton.com. 1205 101 Street Southwest.
There's one. And another. No, not spring flowers yet, but rather huge deals. It's GMC's Truck Month at Wolf GMC Buick. Nab 0% financing up to 72 months on our most popular Sierra half-tons, or massive discounts starting at $8,000. Choose your truck from a great selection, like the fabulous all-new Canyon, right up to the trailer-hauling Sierra HD with the industry-leading Duramax diesel. Spring into Wolf GMC Buick today and snag your truck, and see the savings at wolfgmcbuick.com.
Don't settle for being on the rate of last resort if you don't have to be. Check your most recent electricity bill. If it says the words rate of last resort on it, then there are likely better options available for you. In fact, you could save hundreds of dollars per year by switching plans. Check your bill, then go to ucahelps.ca to explore your options. You will likely find a better rate and could have hundreds more in your pocket by the end of the year. A message from the Government of Alberta.
Oh no. See you.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. The pizza makers at Papa John's are making you 2 or more items for $9.99 each from their pop-up pairings menu, like medium one-topping pizza, boneless wings, cheese sticks, and more. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
Tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you, Sports 1440, Orders Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. Welcome back to the show. Now, Dave Pagnotta is reporting that Jake Walman's coming to Edmonton. Not 100% confirmed, but that's what he's reporting. So so it's not confirmed yet, but we should get a good scouting report. And you know what? If you want a good scouting report, hey, go former NHL coach, of course, longtime analyst, Drew Remenda joins us from San Jose. Drew, my man, how you doing?
I'm good, Jace. I'm good. I'm glad to be on with you. I was I'll tell you the story. I tell everybody that I was in Edmonton during the break, picking up my daughter and granddaughter, listening to your program. It's a great program, man. Congratulations. It was really informative and a smart sports radio show.
Oh, I thanks you, man. I appreciate that. Give us for those who don't watch Jake Walman. I know it's not 100% confirmed, but you know, Pagnotta said about 6 tweets about it, so he's got to be onto something. I was kind of surprised when Detroit moved him because from an outsider, he's played pretty well for the Sharks, has he not?
He's been our best defenseman consistently all year. And when Cody Ceci was with the Sharks, before he was traded to Dallas, he and Cody were the top pairing. They were the top shutdown guys. They could play the power play. I'll just tell you from my point of view, what I think of Jake. I think the world of him. He is such a terrific young man, always smiling, upbeat guy, positive individual. He has improved his play in so many areas this year as compared to when he was in Detroit. And I loved him in Detroit. Gets back to pucks quicker than he did before. Gets pucks out of the zone with a good first pass. He's got skill. He's a good skater. He's on the penalty kill. He's on the power play with a bomb of a shot. He has got a hard shot. He's a guy who doesn't mind the physical stuff, doesn't mind blocking shots. We played Buffalo. It was Buffalo the other day, and there was a moment where they were trying to push back after the Sharks got a lead, and we haven't had many leads. Well, we haven't had many chances for victory this year, and he made a block on a shot on Tage Thompson that was key to killing the play. He's I think the world of him. I think he's really what he's done as far as improving his role or improving his play. He works on it every day. In clear cut, he was the number one defenseman for the San Jose Sharks. And I know people in Edmonton goes, yeah, come on, Drew, you guys are 32nd. I know, but you have to look at where the Sharks were and where they were last year to where they are this year, as far as how they're playing and losing better and having those close games. Jake Walman has been a big part of this club. I'm actually quite surprised, disappointed just from a personal point of view, because Jake is such a good guy, always got a smile on his face. He's upbeat, a little quiet with around people, but I think he's a player. I think he's a big time player. He's had a big impact on the young players, and that's very important with one of the youngest teams in the league.
Well, and that was the thing. Like, he's playing all these minutes. Obviously, they got to get something significant. He's got a good cap hit at $3.4 million.
Yes.
He's 6'1", Drew, but he's like heavy. He's 218 pounds. Yeah. And, when we talk about defense in today's NHL, that, you got to have guys who can move the puck. But, man, a lot of the defense cores, you're heavy and you're big, and there's a combination of it. And so he might not be 6'3", but he's 6'1" and 218. Does he play a heavy game?
Not as much as probably you'd really want to see from a guy that is that heavy and is that strong. There's times I'd like to see Jake play the puck less and play the man more. I'm not saying he shies away from hits. He'll go to the corners and certainly take a hit to make a play. He will be physical in front of the net. But and maybe it's just me because I'm 62 years old. I'm looking at it going, I think most defensemen nowadays could play heavier, and they don't. They'll look to puck check instead of being physical and play on the body. But he's smart as far as his position goes. But I wouldn't say no. I would say no. He doesn't play a overly heavy game where you'd be really impressed with him. Where you'll be impressed with him is his skill level to be able to move the puck and get back to pucks quickly, like I said, and exit zones cleanly.
Drew Remenda joins us. Drew, you mentioned the young team of the Sharks, and it just had back-to-back wins, and it's hard being in a rebuild. Yeah. But you got some young players there, specifically, Celebrini. From what, the NHL is a hard league. I've always argued, man, to be a teenager in this league, I don't care. Leon Draisaitl, who's the best player in the game right now, he wasn't ready as a teenager, and there's nothing wrong with that. Nope. So I look at Celebrini, and what's impressed you about his game? Because, man, he's looked pretty good for a teenager on obviously a not very deep team.
How much of a leader he is. And I said earlier this year when the Sharks played the Oilers in Edmonton that Macklin reminds me a lot of Connor when Connor first came in, as far as the attitude to try to get better, the attitude to not only be a good player, but be the best player you could be every single day and try to improve every single day. And I have got a theory, Jason. Let me see what you think of it. And I'd be really interested in your opinion. His dad is Rick Celebrini, who we all know, who's in Vancouver, and now he's head of medicine and high performance for the Golden State Warriors, and been that for a while. And Macklin was around, not all the time, but was around the Golden State Warriors and Draymond Green and Steph Curry and Clay and all those championship teams. And he saw what they did. Now, he wasn't there all the time because he was playing hockey as well. But when he was there, he saw what they did and how hard they work. And they had a dad who knew what they were doing, was actually programming that for them, and also had the ability to point out this is why they're doing that. And I think mentally, the way he approaches the game and emotionally the way he approaches the game is a lot of that because of the influence of the champions he saw and his dad, who knows what the hell he's talking about. Would you think that would be a logical thought process?
Yeah, no. Well, it is, having that background, some guys are just wired different. There's no question. And
yes.
And I know, I talked to a few scouts who told me they are firm believers that in a few years, that Celebrini is going to be better than Bedard.
Yeah, people have said that. Macklin's 200-foot game is better than Connor Bedard's is right now. I think he's better away from the hockey. Well, in fact, if you look at his numbers as far as rookies going, even in across forwards in the National Hockey League, his takeaways are right up there. He's very strong in that regard. But again, we're talking about an 18-year-old and a 19-year-old, right? And we're talking about two guys who are very young. I think they're both going to be absolutely spectacular. But what drives Macklin One thing is really funny. If you want to get Macklin to immediately change the subject on an interview or stop talking on an interview altogether, ask him about himself. That's it. He wants to talk about the team, and that's it. So I think that has a lot to do with his makeup as well. When you look at Macklin Celebrini, he's a very dynamic hockey player, and I think he's got a really bright future, and he is the future of the San Jose Sharks.
Yeah, and I want to kind of circle back to a guy like Walman. So if you look at Edmonton's defense core and Ekholm and Nur, like, can Walman play the right side, Drew, or is he better on the left side?
He's better on the left side. Okay. He can play the right side,
right?
But he's better on the left side. Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah,
100%.
So when I look at, you got Nurse and you got Ekholm, so like if Walman's your third left defenseman, my goodness, you got a pretty deep team.
You got a very deep team, and in my opinion, and nobody cares about my opinion with the Edmonton Oilers, but I would think that is exactly where they need to go. Getting a guy like Jake Walman is only going to help. Yes, they're in a little bit of a slump right now. I think, of course, they'll break out of it because they're so talented. But I wouldn't, to me, as far as the forwards and everything else, and everybody's talking about what they're talking about, and I still follow the Oilers. I still read about what everybody says to listen to you. And that team needs defensive help. And it's not, it's big guys that can play a smart, clean game.
Yes. Yeah, 100% agree with you. First pass, good outlet passer, which helps because you know what? With the Oilers, a team that transitions quickly, when you got McDavid and Draisaitl on the ice for I don't even know what the number is, 60% of the time, 5-on-5. If you got a good puck mover on each outlet, well, that makes a big difference.
100%. Yeah, absolutely right. And Jake can play that second power play unit, and if he gets it, he's got a bomb.
Yeah. Drew, man, thanks so much for doing this on short notice. I really appreciate it. It was great to catch up with you again. We'll have to do it again soon.
You bet. Good talking to you, Jason. Bye.
You too. That is Drew Remenda, analyst for the San Jose Sharks. So a good rundown on Walman. If you missed it, I'll give you the exact breakdown from Drew. He's been their best defenseman all year. Quote, he's improved his play, gets back to pucks quicker than he did before. He can penalty kill. He's on the power play, has a bomb of a shot, physical, block shots. Just overall improved lots of elements of his game, competes hard. Not a big masher by any stretch of the imagination, right? So he's not gonna be crushing guys. So, but hey, you get another move. I firmly believe that the Oilers needed to upgrade their defense, and I think they just did. Now I'm curious. A lot of people are texting in at 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440 on what's the return. I've sent out a few texts. I'm trying to get exactly what the return is, but I won't be surprised. Like Jake Walman makes $3.4 million for this year and next year. Would a first rounder do it? We have people. Does this mean Savoy's gone? I can't say for sure. Now let's hypothetically say he did. If it was Walman for McLeod, right, with Savoy in the middle, that's kind of what it would end up being, right? I don't know. To be honest, I don't know if I think Edmonton would like to keep Matt Savoy because they just don't have any prospects coming. You do need some offensive prospects. So you give up a draft pick. And by the way, this draft pick would be in 2026. Right. So that's a long time down the road. Matt Savoy is 21 years of age. By the time of 26, that's by the time that draft comes, right? That's another, full season for Savoy. Right? He's 22 now, right? That draft pick's going to be, well, depending on his birthday, 17 or 18. So if you're the Sharks, hey, maybe you take Savoy, but they've got Will Smith and they've got some other, they might want another pick, right? Because I think they're thinking long-term a little bit more. They've got lots of smaller forwards, so I'd be surprised. Doesn't mean it's not him. I would just be surprised if it's Matt Savoy. I think, the Oilers, I know they've been really impressed with how he's played. So, you give up a draft pick that's probably, if the way the Oilers think, right? Hey, should they win a round of the playoffs in 2026? Well, now you're talking it's a 25 to 32 pick. So I don't expect it to be Matt Savoy. I'd be shocked for all those texting in. I'd be floored if it was. Quick break. Let's take a final break of the show. We'll come back. We got, of course, the pregame show and more on the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Papa John's, you get your everyday favorites for just $9.99 each when you order 2 or more items from the Papa Pairings menu. When you order more, you save more. Choose from medium one-topping pizzas, boneless wings, papadillas, French sticks, cheese sticks, and desserts. It's easy to order all your favorites when they're just $9.99 each. So the next time your friends come over to eat your food, check out the Papa Pairings menu to save. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's.
The Alzheimer's Face-Off presented by Christensen Communities Limited hits the ice April 25th to 27th. Don't miss the Champions Luncheon on Friday, April 25th at the Edmonton Convention Center. Tables are on sale now. This year's event is hosted by accomplished sports journalist and author Scott Morrison and features the legendary locker room tales of Mike Keenan. Iron Mike grew from a highly respected NHL player to one of the most passionate coaches in hockey history. For more information or to purchase your Champions Luncheon table, visit alzheimersfaceoff.ca.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is the #1 heating and cooling company for people who want heating and cooling, because you'll save a bundle by bundling. Then you can use hot, cold, hot, cold. Come on, thermostat, do what you're told. Turn up the heat, turn up the cold, to the vents start pushing out tornadoes. Bundle my furnace with some AC. Gonna get a new from Legacy! Oh yeah, save a bundle when you bundle your new furnace and AC from Legacy today. Plus no payments and no interest for 1 year. That's how you build your legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Day or night, tasting just the right. You can order Oodle Noodle at oodlenoodle.ca, delivering you the news almost right away. Remember, you can order Oodle Noodle at oodlenoodle.ca. So stay on your couch all day and order oodlenoodle.ca. Oodle Noodle.
Hair Aware with Dr. Vance Elliott.
Hey, Dr. Vance, does a hair transplant have to look like a hair transplant? There's a guy at work, his is totally obvious.
My goal is to give every one of my patients a full, natural-looking head of hair, so I stay up to date on the latest innovations. This is science, and more importantly, an art. I do things differently and move more hair than is normally done, resulting in a thicker look that is also more natural.
Trust a world-renowned expert in hair restoration. Book an appointment at drvanceelliott.com today.
Experience more at the Edmonton Expo Center. Come for Canada's largest trade show, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. Stay for the experience. But it doesn't end there. Maximize your brand exposure with Edmonton Expo Center's new cutting-edge feature screens, spanning Western Canada's largest venue space. Captivate an annual audience of over 1 million visitors during iconic events like Pro Rodeo, Disney on Ice, Glow, K-Days, and so much more. To learn more, call 780-660-0514 or visit edmontonexpocenter.com today.
Explore Internet just got 10 times faster. 5G Ultra brings incredible speeds to homes in rural and small town Canada. Upgrade today at xplore.ca.
Mission Allen Auctions Public Unreserved Equipment Auction is next Friday at 9 a.m. featuring backhoes, crawler dozer, excavators, mini excavators, platform lifts, skid steers, snorkel lifts, street sweepers, turf mowers, wheel loaders, utility vehicles, plus commercial trailers. Info at maauctions.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork. We offer sale, rental, repair, and calibration of hydraulic, pneumatic, and battery-powered torque wrenches, stud tensioners, and flange maintenance equipment. Order today at cantork.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
The Thursday, Oiler fans, Jake Walman. We're still trying to get the return, but Jake Walman sounds like he is going to be a member of the Edmonton Oilers. Of course, he's a defenseman, 29 years of age, left shot defenseman, 6'1", 218, has been playing 23 minutes a night this season for the San Jose Sharks. If you just missed it, we had Drew Remenda on the show. He said, without question, he has been their best defenseman all season long, plays in every situation. Here in Edmonton, you know what? They wouldn't use him on the power play, but he's playing over 23 minutes a night. He's got 32 points, 25 of them at even strength. Like that's pretty impressive. You know, when you look at it for a team that, doesn't score a ton, like look at the orders. Bouchard 28, Ekholm 21, Nurse 20, Kulak 21. So that's good. Now you're going to have 5 defenseman with 20 points even strength. That's all. That's what guys who move the puck up the ice. That's what you want. That's impressive to me. That would be good. So, there's lots of reasons. He's not overly physical, according to Drew. And not everybody has to be a banger, but he can lean on guys if need be at 218 pounds. So he's strong enough. I like what Drew talked about, how he's really worked on and got better at getting back quicker on puck retrievals. That's such a key part of today's game now for defensemen. It's, as Adam Oates swears, it's the hardest skill to do for defensemen is just go back and get pucks, go back and get pucks, go back and get pucks. So also what I like about this, which I've said all along, the Oilers, you give up a first-round pick and you get a guy, because now you have him for minimum 2 years. He's got this year, and then he's got next year at $3.4 million. So, when you kind of think about it, there's the replacement for Cody Ceci. In a roundabout way, Cody Ceci made 3.25. He's making 3.4. Now, he's a lefty. Ceci's a righty. I think this means, unless there's other moves coming, I would think this means Brett Kulak's going to be your right defenseman to play with Darnell Nurse. And I don't have an issue with that. Does anybody? I wouldn't think so. Nurse and Kulak, when played together, they're fine. Now, as for tonight's game, we're going to get to the lineup report brought to you by Sherwood Power Sports and Marine, home of the $50 bi-weekly ATV. You can get on a boat this summer for as low as $105 bi-weekly. Learn more at Sherwood Power Sports and Marine. The Edmonton Oilers lineup tonight will look a little bit different. Let's start on the back end because that's where it's going to look different. No Ekholm, no Klingberg. So we don't know 100% because it wasn't a full practice today, but Nurse with Bouchard, Kulak with Emerson. That would make sense. Then you've got Cam Dineen and Troy Stetcher remaining. Is Dineen going to play a ton? Who knows? He's a puck-moving defenseman, not overly big. Him and Stitch are both under 6 feet, so they'd probably be selective in the matchups they want. Stuart Skinner is going to get the start in goal tonight for the Edmonton Oilers, which I don't think anyone is surprised by that at all. Up front, you will have Nugent Hopkins, Hyman, McDavid, Draisaitl, Podkolzin, and Arvidsson, Henrique Brown, Janmark, Kasperi Kapanen, Corey Perry, and Max Jones will make his Oilers debut tonight. 6'3", 220-pound winger who they acquired in the Trent Frederick trade from Boston. Meanwhile, the Montreal Canadiens coming to town red hot. Winners of 5 in a row. Suzuki, Caufield, and Slafkovsky. That's their top line. And man, Nick Suzuki has 13 points in his last 5 games. The Oilers have scored 12 goals combined in their last 5 games. So he is red hot. Owen Beck with Newhook and Laine. Now that's the line. Now, maybe they'll put Dvorak, Anderson, and Gallagher, but if you're the Edmonton Oilers, you want to try to get the Draisaitl line out against that Beck line any chance you can. I think that'd be a big mismatch for the Edmonton Oilers. Jake Evans, Joel Armia, and Emil Heineman, obviously, like their bottom 6 lines, they have a lot of confidence in Montreal that those lines can play against some other teams' top lines at times. So I'll be curious, though. They don't have last change. It'll be interesting to see what the matchup is there. Matheson with Alexander Carrier, Struble, and Hudson, and then Jakai and David Savard. Wi-Fi, still one of the best nicknames in the NHL. And, of course, Montembeault is going to get the start in goal for them. Hey, guys, could Jake Allen be our Dwayne Rolson? Nope, because the New Jersey Devils have added today. They're not trading Jake Allen. I don't see why they would. Right? There's what are you gonna, first of all, like, what are you going to give up for Jake Allen? And what would they? I just don't see why New Jersey would do that. Right? I thought for a second we said, hey, Jack Hughes, what could they do? Well, I think they answered the question today. They went out and got Dumoulin, and there's some rumblings out there. Now, I know lots of rumblings doesn't mean it happens, but there's rumblings that the Devils, Elias Pettersson, my goodness, that would be crazy. But I don't know. That to me seems more of a, hey, they lost Jack Hughes, so they need a center. But I don't think that is. So, Greg's, I just jotted in the car. Who did you say the Oilers got? Jake Walman, defenseman from the San Jose Sharks. He's been their number 1 defenseman in San Jose this year, playing 23 minutes a night. Got 32 points, and most of them on even strength at 25, because obviously you come to Edmonton, you're not going to get a ton of power play time. Now, he does have a bomb of a shot, so this could be another weapon 5-on-5. 6'1", 220 pounds, good skater. As Drew Remenda told us, has really improved getting back on puck retrievals. So Hey, guys, I believe it's time for Costin to return. If you had him on the third and fourth line, hopefully Kane would be a nasty team to play against. Your thoughts? I don't think so. They've got Trent Frederick, and they've got Kane. Trent Frederick is infinitely better defensively than Klim Kostin. Now, I like Klim Kostin. I know people love the story about Klim Kostin. But I don't think so. Like, I've been looking at now. He has been playing a little bit better lately and playing a little bit more in San Jose this year. But if you look at Klim Kostin, his minutes in San Jose this year, like he's playing 10 minutes a night. He's like a fourth line guy there, right? He's not playing a lot, right? He's got one goal. I look back, like Klim Kostin came to Edmonton and he fit in here. He liked the guys. People loved him. Now he got paid. So I understand, he got that contract and everything, but sometimes you look and say, man, was it a better fit for him? Because it hasn't been a fit since he left, right? He's not playing as much. Now he got the money. And so, hey, you know what? $4 million, man. That's a pretty good financial decision for yourself. So it's hard to criticize it. But, Klim Kostin's concern was he was never overly reliable defensively. Physical, for sure. Energetic, 100%. Had a great shot, too. But I think that was a guy who kind of perfect timing, one-time wonder, but I don't think he would come back about. Hey, Gregor, do you think Kane's going to play or he's going to get traded? Well, I think I've said all along, it's pretty difficult to trade him in my eyes. Like, what's his value? He hasn't played all year. I've said it from the get-go. I've been pretty consistent. I don't believe he's going to play until the playoffs. And I don't even know when he's going to play in the playoffs. Maybe it's game one. Who knows? But like that major surgeries, man, double hernias, double abductor tears, like that's pretty significant. So I don't, hopefully he's back. And when he is, like I've said, to me, he's a bottom six guy. And if he comes back and guns a-blazing and is even better, well, that's a huge bonus, but I don't know. Hey, boys, what do you think the ask is for Rantanen? Should it be a first? Oh, Brad, it would be way more than a first, man. Like, look what Colorado gave up to get him. Natchez and Drury and a pick. I don't like the Rantanen one. I understand all the talk, and I get why Colorado's looking to see, or sorry, not Colorado, Carolina, because Rantanen told him, hey, I'm not ready to sign an extension. Doesn't mean I won't. I'm just not going to do it now. So Carolina's like, well, let's at least see what's out there. Maybe it's nothing. And, Rantanen can't be offended by that and say, I can't believe they were talking, right? It's a business. It's nothing personal, but it would be way more than a first. No question. Hey, guys, there's lots of rumbling. Brad Marchand's coming to the West. Colorado. That would be my guess. Edmonton, dare to dream, man. Like I've said, I would not be surprised. I don't think Edmonton's done. I'm going to say that. Jake Walman's in. I do not think the orders are done. I always said they're going to make 3 moves. I still believe that. We'll see if they make more. Coming up next, we got the pregame show with Walker and Paulson. Let's get to the con man and a sports 1440 update brought to you by Booster Juice. Stop in right now. They got some great new food menus. The guacamole chicken panini, guacamole black bean wrap, and the egg and chipotle black bean wrap. Visit a Booster Juice today and enjoy.
This is a sports 1440 update.
For Dave Pagnotta, the Edmonton Oilers acquired Jake Walman from the San Jose Sharks. Walman has 2 goals, 26 helpers, and 50 games this season in San Jose. 1 year left on his current deal with an AAV of $3.4 million. The return not confirmed yet, but per Pagnotta, there is chatter of a first-round pick. The Oilers, of course, in action just over an hour, taking on the Montreal Canadiens. We've got pregame coverage coming up next with Andrew Walker and Donovan Paulson. Elsewhere around the NHL, Red Wings lead the Utah Hockey Club 2-1. Sabres have a 3-2 lead over the Lightning, and the Panthers have a 1-0 lead over the Columbus Blue Jackets. In Philadelphia, Jets lead the Flyers 2-0, and the Bruins and Hurricanes tied at 1 apiece. Later on tonight in the NHL, Preds hosting the Kraken. You got the Flames in Dallas and the Sharks taking on the Avalanche. In the association, for right now, Bulls lead the Magic 48-45 in the second. Early, Celtics have a 25-19 lead over the Sixers, and the Warriors trail the Nets 18-5. Later on, LeBron and the Lakers to host the Knicks, and the Rockets taking on the Pelicans in the PWHL. After 20 minutes, Toronto leads Montreal 1-0. Coming up next, it is the pregame show with Andrew Walker and Donovan Paulson. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
This is Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station.